Good evening. Welcome to the political workshop of America's Third Party, where we are learning how to become Americans who stand up for something. I am David Sponheim, as the name projects. I'm running for president, and I believe that this country needs some solid solutions for our problems. But we've been having problems getting any press coverage for the past 8 years. The real problem with our election process is the simple fact that the American people are censored. I am not wearing a wig. A lot of people have nothing but mindlessness on their minds, so they don't understand that their vote counts only so much. But when it's controlled and you voted for Trump or Hillary, basically you're bought. Your entire vote was bought and controlled by powerful elitists that run our country. Now, I have to keep reminding everybody of the simple fact that if you don't vote for a third party, we're not going to solve the problems in the country. We're never going to get out of war, because war is a banker's game and they control both parties. The number of votes that I received, one lady called up from her region in California and said, she said that I had 13,000 write-in votes. That's just one region in California. So we know that people are listening. Yeah, please don't start on the wig thing, because it shows me how absolutely mindless a lot of people are talking about a wig. Now, what we have now with the President-elect Trump is a guy who spent all of his life borrowing money. When his father died, he got a $10 million inheritance. It was gone within a year. 1 year. That's how long it took him for all that to go. And then he turned to his family for support, and no one can get any answers out of his sister, who's a federal judge. His brother Robert won't talk about it. But we know they loaned him millions of dollars to keep his business going. And then for a few years there, he stumbled along without making a profit while he was corporate bankruptcies were going on. And then he started The Apprentice show. And then you saw him on TV. That's the big, rich, successful businessman he claims to be. Okay? Now, he just paid out of pocket $25 million to a couple of people that claimed that he defrauded them with the Trump University tuition that they charged. $25 million, and he doesn't admit any fault. Well, I don't know about you, but paying somebody $25 million to go away is pretty stupid financially. So your biggest question now is, what do you do? How do you get this country to rise to the occasion? As Americans, how do we build our vote, and how do we get a political movement to stand up to the tyranny of the two-party system? Now, I've been dealing with this problem for years, but my solution required some level of free advertising from the mainstream media. And because I was unable to get any substantive advertising from the mainstream media, I am handicapped. My entire approach to this political movement is handicapped. So our goal is to continue the pressure from the worldwide audience to get me some time with the media. Now, if I can't get any time with the media and they don't take anything I say seriously, then we seriously have a massive, corrupt police state that is about ready to turn into a totalitarian Nazi police state. We don't support Obama here. We don't support Trump. We support a brand new political direction in the middle of the political spectrum. I've never been divisive. I've always been a uniter. Donald Trump is sparking riots in the cities of America, and you're calling me divisive? I'm handicapped by the mainstream media that's censoring me. But I'm not physically handicapped. No, we're handicapped in our effort to grow. You see, all of this requires a level of free press that doesn't exist anymore in this country. Truman had more free press than I have right now. I'm not muting potential electors. I'm muting people who are obviously hating me. They're not going to be my elector. I'd be a fool to think that they're going to switch and be my elector after hating me. So pitted, says Dave, if rich candidates have to pay millions in campaign fees to get in the public eye, why do you think you should get media attention for free? What a loaded question. So you're giving up your country and your freedom and sacrificing it in some way to declare that the media has to be bought in order to get any press coverage. It just amazes me how many of you have fallen into this trap of believing that money is the only way out. And you wonder why you have a corrupt pig running your country, or soon to be running your country. Excuse me, Barack Obama is a corrupt pig too. No, you're divisive for coming in here, and I told you I was going to ban you. Bye. So you got two corrupt pigs passing the torch of corruption, and you're wondering why, David, why do you think you should have a voice when you don't have any money to pay? I mean, do you really understand what corruption is? Corruption starts in your pocketbook. I am calm. Obama, are you kidding? He spent $72 million on travel expenses. My budget would be like close to maybe $2,000 or $3,000 per year. I'd be mostly staying at Camp David. I wouldn't travel to resort holiday locations with my family of adopted children to prove that I have a tranny husband. Or that I don't have a tranny husband. Because frankly, Barack Obama is married to a transsexual. And if you don't know that, let's just start the show with that, because I think anti-war rally is kind of shelved when we have to talk about the simple fact that Barack Obama is married to a tranny. Let's get on the same page here, okay? If you don't realize Michelle is a dude, wake up, everybody. Listen to what Joan Rivers said 1.5 months before she was killed for saying it.
And do you think that the country will see the United States will see the first gay president or the first woman president?
We already have it with Obama, so let's just calm down.
Got it.
You know Michelle is a trans.
I'm sorry, she's a what?
A transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Need I say more? I mean, really. Could we get a consensus among all the Obama tards and the Trump tards that Barack Obama married a tranny? Could we please do that? Let's at least start with somebody on the same page. Television is not just entertainment. It's supposed to serve the public interest. Read the bylaws with the FCC, the formation of the FCC. You're right in all the different things you said, Rule 34, but, frankly, news should be very informative. It shouldn't be a controlled press like we have today. No, we didn't win, ticking time bags. We're working on a new approach to the election right now. Press 1 if you think Obama married a tranny. Anyone who doesn't believe that he's a tranny, press 2. Michelle is a tranny. Press 1 if you believe Michael is a tranny. Don't tell me what to do. I live in a free country with free speech. Look, at the entire room saw a penis dangling in that live clip from Ellen DeGeneres' dance show. And you Obama tards are going, I can't believe this guy's talking about this. I think Joan Rivers was killed. Yeah, he's on tape calling her or it Michael. You people who voted for Obama were really lied to, and now I need you to be supporters of a third party. I need you to start waking up. If we're going to change this country, we're going to have to do it from the ground up. And you guys are the ground. We need a head start here. We need a lot of people to realize we have been lied to. And Trump is no different. Trump is a professional con artist. Well, Michael and I, let's bring up the Michael and I picture. Well, let's be clear. Michael and I been very supportive. can't believe all these things. He had sex with a guy in a limousine in 1999, and he never sued him for defamation of character. I give you Larry Sinclair.
Where Senator Obama exited the limousine with $250, which was provided to him by me. Returned a short while later with an 8-ball of cocaine, which he gave to me. I did ingest a couple of lines of cocaine, and shortly thereafter, Senator Obama produced a glass cylinder pipe and packet of crack cocaine from his pocket. Obama then smoked the crack cocaine. I performed fellatio on Senator Obama in the limousine during the time Senator Obama was smoking crack cocaine, after which I had the driver take me to my hotel, the Comfort Suites, Gurnee, Illinois.
Wow. Yeah, I don't have the Michael and I thing on cue right now, but I do have another little tidbit. Here's Michael Obama talking about his trip to Kenya.
Surrounding HIV testing, which is still plaguing so many of our communities, which you all know, a lot of that is due to homophobia. Barack has led by example. When we took our trip to Africa and visited his home country in Kenya, we took a public HIV test. For the very point of showing folks in Kenya that there is nothing to be embarrassed about in getting tested. And we did it as a couple.
So he went to his home country of Kenya. Now, if Sheriff Joe Arpaio was in any way a man, he would tell Trump, you, sir, backed off on your belief that Trump said that Obama was born in Kenya. Arpaio would hold him to the coals if he would just be a man and do it. Publicly say, Trump, how can you say that you now think that Barack Obama was born in America? When we know he was born in Kenya, for years Barack Obama was the senator born in Kenya. I knew it, everybody knew it. I remember seeing a TV show of a state senator from Kenya. And my father turned to me and said, David, do you think that guy will ever run for president? And I said, how can he? You have to be a natural born citizen to run for a president. You can't be a naturalized citizen. That was my conversation in 2000 when we talked about Barack Obama, my father and I. A year later, he died right before the Trade Center attack. I'm glad my father and mother passed away before the Trade Center attack. I had told them that I felt that America would change dramatically in my lifetime, and I was right. But we're not even close to understanding how right I was. It's going to be a long time before many of you people who voted for Obama thinking he was bringing you a better country will realize that he just screwed you over. He passed executive order after executive order denying your freedom, forcing you to be force vaccinated with herd inoculation laws, giving in authority of our armed forces to the UN, which Obama signed into law. The UN could very well take over our country the way the laws are set up right now. Obama was a Soros puppet, but I got news for you guys. Trump is a Soros puppet too. Obama's communist Marxist backbone was just part of the pendulum politics that was being played to bring you all the way over to the right now and look at the simple fact that they control both sides, I'm telling you. Trump took $160 million investment from Soros. Here's the link. You can check it out. I normally wouldn't send you to Occupy Democrats, but it's all there. It's been legitimized. So you're basically of the belief that, the elitists now are really worried that Trump's in power. Forget that thought. He's going to let Hillary walk. He's going to let all of them walk. He's not going to prosecute excesses in Wall Street. He's going to ask for loans. He's going to negotiate the worst deal on earth with the most dangerous country on earth to us, Russia. And we'll talk about what's coming in a little while. I'll allude to that. It's about Syria. And I finally figured out why Trump did not want to endorse my idea of pulling support for the rebels. He never made a statement that he would back off on the rebels. He says he's going to fund more activity against ISIS. But then he copied me on another show and said that ISIS was created by Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. So he's all over the place. But we're going to get to the bottom of really what's going on in Trump's mind. I'm beginning to understand how Trump thinks. I've been studying him, the whole idea of how he's been manipulating people to get loans to pretend like he has millions or billions of dollars. We'll get to the truth behind that. Trump only has on record $4.5 billion. No evidence of $10 billion whatsoever. So you were lied to about that. And the Ron Paul reveals the real fake media news list. A story just came in from Zero Hedge. Ron Paul, who we do have some respect for because he wrote the End the Fed book, and we want to end the Fed. In response to the makeshift fake news list created by the leftist feminist professor, Ron Paul's Liberty Report has released another fake news list that's been revealed in that one holds a lot more water. This list contains the culprits who told us that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction and lied to us into multiple bogus wars. These are the news sources that told us that if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. They told us that Hillary Clinton had 98% of winning the election. They tell us in a never-ending loop that the economy is in great shape. These are the list of the journalists. Wow, he names them. And he gives WikiLeaks sources on this. Well, no, there's no source list here, but that's interesting. Oh yeah, look at them all. These are the people that won't even cover a story by me, Wolf Blitzer. None of these people will cover me because they're all controlled. So Ron Paul is acutely aware of the censorship. I'm the most aware because I've been the biggest victim of the censorship. I don't know anybody who's been more of a victim of censorship than I have. People are not going to stop getting their magical entertainment facts from Magical Entertainment Box. Sorry, Rule. Look, one of the reasons why, who cares who the CIA director is? The CIA is obviously corrupt and at the bottom of most wars. I don't care if Mike Pompeo or Pompous Ass is the CIA director. It doesn't matter to me. They're all corrupt. God. Okay, Turkey Hunter Bane is down. Dave, love your show. I have 3 other people watching you in a turkey hunting shelter. So you guys are going to go hunt your turkey, and you're playing the volume with earpieces so you can listen to us right now. That's pretty funny. So you want to see the presidential motorcade that Donald Trump will probably end up having in a few short years? It's all about Trump, by the way. It's not about you. Let's take a look at this. This is a clip that somebody said, it's a parody, of course, but somebody said that this could very well be the next motorcade. Forget the beast. You're looking at the extreme motorcade. Very funny. That's a Saudi Arabian motorcade. Yeah, it must be. Okay, it's dark. Ain't no turkey shoot today. It's broke back turkey hunting. So you guys are in the turkey hut watching our show. Don't listen to these people. They're not implying you guys are out on a broke back holiday. I wish I had the link to that. It was taken from me by the Secret Service of the Saudi king. I have no idea where that link came from. I'm not corrupt. I have no corruption whatsoever in my bones. I was born true to my word. I was one of those people like Abraham Lincoln, born to believe in honesty and virtue and justice. And like Abraham Lincoln, ironically, money kept him from going to law school, so he studied, how to become an attorney on his own, and he went on to become an attorney. I studied the political structure on my own and went on to form my own political party. My goals have always been to get this country back on that axis of truth, to try to focus on justice again. Right now, our criminal justice system is a disaster. You could buy your way out of any court proceeding if you have enough money. You could get 1.5 years for molesting 4 boys, like Dennis Hastert, the former Speaker of the House. He molested 4 boys when he's a wrestling coach, and he only got 1.5 years. There are people serving 7 years for 7 separate files of child pornography in our country right now. Yet he only gets 1.5 years for actually molesting the children. Can you believe that? That's because he made a deal with a guy who was his judge, was a former attorney that worked for Dennis Hastert and didn't recuse himself. You can't fix the psychological manipulation of the television. It's not possible. Born to be wild. Oh, we'll be monetized for that. Sorry, I can't play it. Hey, if you are of the belief that we can stop this corruption, which I believe we can, you have to consign to a new political direction. You have to look at possibly stopping everything and becoming a third-party believer, voter, promoter. It's free. You don't have to spend any money to do it. You can just talk about, hey, there's this third party out there, this guy, he's tried everything to get noticed. He did a blackface video. He's been censored for 8 years, but he has a worldwide audience of people. And the American government won't let him get a single second of media time. I have never been monetized simply because I can't monetize what I'm doing. They've monetized our videos, yes, but I can't draw a penny from it. And in order to be FEC compliant, we don't take a penny from our show, and I have never received a penny for doing this show. Well, the blackface video is me attempting to impersonate Barack Obama, who is, by the way, black. Let's not forget that he's black. In 2008, I recognized that white people were not going to get any coverage. So I knew that being white and standing there saying that I believed that Barack Obama was, screwing up foreign policy, starting wars in other countries, had lied in many different directions. I knew that being white wasn't going to cut it. So I went out of my way to become a black man, just for a few minutes. And I created a character called Broken Saint Obamas. And here is that character. I did a 3-minute video, put it on YouTube, and it got attacked all over the place. The hits were just skyrocketing with attacks and hates, and I was freaking out because I didn't realize that people didn't understand that I was impersonating a black president using blackface. They thought I was being a racist. So, that being the case, this was a brilliant idea. It was a guerrilla marketing tactic that I used, no pun intended, to create a new discussion about me. Other than a white guy's running for president and he's complaining about Barack Obama, which doesn't have anything to it. It's like, who cares? This is my resume right here. Whenever you want to hire me, you just look at that. That's me. So the guerrilla marketing tactic that I used, no pun intended, really did work. But it's not, no, I did one in 2014, which has 2 hours of satire on my website. You can go to my website and not only pick up great cooking ideas, but you'll see all the blackface videos. They're still there, except for the early ones. Those were copied and put on Blu-ray discs and sent to dance clubs around the world. So thankfully, people found it funny, except the mainstream media wouldn't give me any time whatsoever, wouldn't talk about it. There's nothing racist about impersonating a black president in blackface. Nothing. There's not a... How else, I ask you dumb idiots who don't understand freedom of speech, how else was I supposed to impersonate a black president with satire? You tell me. In whiteface, it's like you don't even know what your country stands for. Our nation doesn't have... Don't click on that. Our nation does not have a provision in the Bill of Rights that says, hey, Bag and Audio, how you doing, man? That's better. I know, this page will work. You can click there. I've got all kinds of cooking solutions for saving money on your cooking, on your budget. We've got great recipes that you could make in less than 20-30 minutes if you really focus. Walk away, come back, your dinner's done. I am calm. Thank you for asking. Clam down. This link will work. No, actually, a salad bar terrorist, we're going to ban you. That actually works tremendously for me. The blackface has already carried me to a world audience, and believe it or not, this is the kind of viewership that we needed. And I'm very glad that people around the world are watching us now, because now we have the world's views. We can actually look at how things are going. Now I'm going to look at the mainstream media right now and show you what news is propagating at Google. Trump, Romney have a far-reaching conversation at a meeting. So I guess one of them gave each other a reach around, or how does that work? Where's Salad Bar Dave? I banned the Salad Bar terrorist guy, yeah. Well, the more I hear you, the less I like what you say too. So I'm going to mute you until you come up with something positive to say about the show. If you don't understand the corruption that led to me doing a blackface video in 2008 to stop the censorship, you don't even understand the problem. You're a mindless idiot who will just sit back and watch while they cart away your family and force vaccinate you and eventually stick you in a FEMA camp. We have 5 viewers from North Korea watching us. I'm not mocking Trump. I'm helping you understand that he's a corporate pig who is about ready to turn our national security over to Russia. I don't think you understand what I'm talking about. I don't have the money to hire Bob as a show producer. I don't insult viewers, only people that are scumbags who have no clue as to what I'm saying. This cast has been dumbed down to 480. I am actually broadcasting in 640 by 360. And my camera, the configurations of my camera are this. I'll show you. My mother's side gave me a small amount of Indian, yeah. My output is 864 by 480. So if I adjust the frame rate at Vaughn, it's only because, and the reason why you're seeing me at 480 instead of 640 is Vaughn dumbs it down even farther. They're trying to limit my views on Vaughn. Even if I'm number 1 on Vaughn, I'm still only at 114. When News and Views gets 4,000 views every day. And I confronted Mark about this, but he talked around it, claiming he didn't have enough server capacity to handle our show. You're CIA? Okay. My output needs to be at 180p? You mean 1080p? No. This show cannot function at 1080p. It completely bogs down the Vaughn servers. We've been running at 650 kbytes per second for the past few years, and it's the only thing that works. Sorry to say, but that's the way it is. If you, I don't get any money for doing anything. If you look at your the show at AmericasThirdParty.com, you'll notice it has better video quality, and you can still chat in the chat room. Mark said he's not censoring me. He lied. He also claimed he wrote me in the election, which he lied too. So if Mark is running News and Views, and he must have the authority to run that from Fox News, and if he doesn't have the written authority to run News and Views from Fox News, he's probably going to get charged with some serious copyright violations eventually. So he's kind of winging it or something. But when he lied to me and said that he doesn't have the server capacity, look, if you have a guy confronting you with lies, what are you going to do? Say, you're lying to me. That's a lie. I mean, you're not going to get the truth out of the guy. We don't know how many votes I got in the election. We know we got 13,000 votes in one single sector, one region in California. Did the CIA take out WikiLeaks? I don't know. What's going on here? This is a massive file. It's a picture of some sort. What am I looking at here? I'm one of the 15 WikiLeaks personnel that were raided at the same time Julian's internet was cut at the Ecuadorian embassy. This person says I was issued a national security letter and a gag order, and all my computer equipment was seized. Whoa. Okay. We had several contingency communication plans, they say, in place, and I have been unable to contact Julian or any WikiLeaks personnel except 4 won through our alternative communication channels. Julian is missing, as are most of the WikiLeaks personnel that I had regular communication with. WikiLeaks personnel are not in control of the official Twitter account. WikiLeaks on Reddit was not conducted by the WikiLeaks personnel, so there's a fake WikiLeaks account all over the place. The DDoS attack on the East Coast prevented the dead man switch from being activated. There is a contingency plan, but it requires physical travel. I am on it. There's been an incredible charade to keep up the appearance that Julian is fine. Several trusted people are obviously under duress, as I cannot imagine any reason why they would promote this charade. I want to stress that we are no longer in control of WikiLeaks. I advise whistleblowers to not submit leaks since we are not in control of our infrastructure. The people in control of our infrastructure will use it to identify and prosecute whistleblowers. I've been saying that for years. Ironically, now they're saying it. No, this looks legit, man. Yeah. $13,000 votes are not going to be armed, dude. Nobody's arming anything. I've dedicated to peace and nonviolence. Don't think this is a violent, disruptive insurrection of any sort. We're trying to build a political movement. And because I'm not invested in this on a financial level, other than I'm the biggest donator to this actual cause, America's Third Party, but I'm not in any way invested in this as a personal way to just gain favor with somebody. I mean, I'm not Trump. I'm not materialistic. I don't have a $650 million in debt that I have to pay a $65 million interest payment on every year. So I don't have the requirements this guy has. He's the guy who's going to be manipulated by the Russian government and by deals that are going on under the curtain right now. He's not going to do anything substantive in the country because he's just there to pad his pockets and to pad the pockets of his cronies, and you people bought into it. No, I'm not. I'm way better looking than Barnaby Jones. I told you that last night. We even showed you Barnaby Jones, okay? You're saying I look like Barnaby Jones. I'm saying I'm way better looking than Barnaby Jones. I think it's safe to say I'm better looking. There is Barnaby Jones, and you're saying I look like him. I think my nose is way better than his, personally. I think he has a weird nose, and you're right about the eyes, and he has bushier eyebrows. I'll give you that. But in no way do I look like this man. I have to morph my face into his face. Let's just not talk about mindless stuff, okay? Now, So Pitted says Trump is the property of the neocon Jews. Yeah, when Trump made a pledge to AIPAC, he made a very strong appeal for money. And many people don't realize that this guy will do anything for money. Donald will. And that's just what he does, you know. He likes to solicit money. So when he appealed to AIPAC and wrote an amazing speech that he delivered off a teleprompter to AIPAC, one has to wonder how much of AIPAC is controlling our current president-elect. You can read Donald Trump's speech to AIPAC at this website right here. A lot of you don't believe that Donald Trump is a Zionist. He totally is. There's the AIPAC speech. You can check it out. Read it in verbatim. I haven't combed over it with a fine-tooth comb because frankly, it makes me sick. I will never take money from AIPAC. I won't meet them. This is an unusual channel. Thank you, 545, for recognizing that. Thank you. You're vomiting, Salty Dog? You got awesome audio through Turtle Beach headphones. 686 is terrified. You know, I drive around. I live in an area with predominantly Democrats. And thank you, in Erie. Thank you, Turkey Hunter Bain. I basically live in an area that was Bernie land. Bernie supporters everywhere. They didn't even have Hillary Clinton signs up. That's how little they cared about Hillary. But I feel in my heart that these people are genuinely frightened for their lives right now. They're driving around like a bunch of scared gerbils in their cars going, I can't believe Trump won. You picked Obama for 8 years. He didn't do a damn thing. Of course the pendulum's going to swing to the other side of the political spectrum. Can't Stop is a song that I'm going to play right now. If you haven't heard it, it's our inspiration to keep going, folks. So we do this show every night. And I'm going to do, except Sunday, of course. We take a day off for Sunday. But I'm going to do a little rendition here where we inspire ourselves to keep doing this show because it's the only way we're going to solve our problems in America. There's no other way. Keep going. Never stop. Thank you.
We can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. We can't stop, we can't stop. We can't stop, we can't stop. We can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. We can't stop, we can't stop, we can't stop, we can't stop.
So let's be clear. In this coming election year, please vote for David Sponheim. America's Third Party.
Sponheim for president.
We can't stop, we can't stop, we can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance
Not great.
all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop.
First we hit 'em low, then we hit 'em high. Underrated, but we made it to the finish line. Rhymes designed to combine and intertwine. Straight to the summer, fall, even winter time. Beats banging harder, then head on collisions. We make incisions with precision and quick decisions. Causing visions if they way up the speed. You need to speed it up, partner. Piano beat.
We can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, we can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, can't stop and we won't stop.
In this coming election year, please vote for David Sponheim. America's Third Party.
Oh, you didn't?
They couldn't see the bottom of it anyway.
Well, let's answer your
All
question.
right, Mr. Trump, you have 2 minutes. How do you heal the divide?
Somebody get this guy a respirator. I mean, that's serious. He's got some sort of a
All right,
weird...
let's all take a moment and take a breath.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. What is this breathing problem? He needs a respirator or something, Sarah. Okay, we have got a couple things to talk about. Obviously, we're going to switch rooms now because this one's getting a little old.
Oh, you mean backgrounds?
Yeah, I'm going to do something different tonight.
All right, switch up the scenes.
Okay, last night we talked about America for sale, and Donald Trump is going to probably put us up for sale just like he did all the corporate bankruptcies had. So we're not in any way in favor of having America sold off from under us or leveraged against like he's done with all of his big value corporations that he's bankrupted. So we're going to simply mute anybody who has nothing to say and continue on. Asking questions is what we want you to do. What does Zionist mean? Well, the old version of Zionism meant that Israel was going to create a state. They were going to create a state for Israel. That was the old 1936 definition of Zionism, to create a state of Israel. Many people believe that Hitler was a Zionist, that he worked diligently to try to create an environment where they'd want a state of Israel. Killing off Jewish people and ethnic minorities created the need for a state of Israel. So in a way, you could see how Hitler was part of that. Now, I don't believe that that's Zionism anymore. I recognize Israel as a state. And I certainly am amazed at all the intelligent people in Israel. But we don't need to have Israel controlling our foreign policy, and I think that's what Zionism is now. Where people who even pull the strings of Zionism, seriously, are the Rothschild family. They're not even Jewish. They're Germans. They're Bauers from Germany. So they're actually, the word Zionism really doesn't have anything to do with Jewish or Israel anymore. It's all about world domination and the New World Order. That's what Zionism is. And I'm against Zionism. I'm against taking money from AIPAC, like Donald is trying to do. I will not do the bidding of Israel in this country. We will certainly talk to Israel and communicate, but we won't do their bidding. We won't start a war in Syria because Syria is their enemy, like Donald Trump wants to do. We won't start a war in other countries that are adjoining Israel because simply Israel wants more dominant control over it. They're not going to use our military apparatus under my administration. Donald, however, you can see him do whatever Israel wants. He'll jump. It's all about money with Donald. Trump is never going to arrest Hillary. I can assure you Hillary is going to be free as a bird the rest of her life. Bill and Hillary will never face charges, and I'll tell you why. Hillary and Bill are close friends with Jeffrey Epstein. And Jeffrey Epstein simply is the worst pedophile on earth who knows Donald Trump personally. In fact, Donald Trump is on Jeffrey Epstein's black book of people he calls, who call him. So since Donald Trump has somehow utilized Jeffrey Epstein's services in the past, he's implicated. So he won't open up that book. He won't look into the files of Jeffrey Epstein because it would end up costing Donald Trump his own presidency. They'd have to impeach when they know what he did with Jeffrey Epstein, if he did anything, allegedly. So that being the case, Hillary's going to walk. She has enough damage on all kinds of people in government to probably spring a few careers and put a few people in Supermax. So in no way are they going to, is he ever going to prosecute Hillary Clinton? And I promise you, that's going to happen. Nothing is going to happen. I promise you that. So if you don't understand that and haven't flipped away from Trump by now, after you've seen him flip on Obamacare, he's calling the wall a fence now. I'm relevant because I'm the only person in America who's been speaking out on ideas left and right that have been stolen by Donald Trump to win this election. I'm the mind that went into the ideas behind the Donald Trump win. He stole 10 of my ideas and did so with complete non-caring, non-concern, or no payback. He actually thinks that he's going to get away with this. Nobody's worrying about anything right now. Thank you. We're going to leave you out of here. Anyone who says they speak 10 languages is lying. Whatever he did with Jeffrey Epstein is between Donald Trump and Jeffrey. Until we can get court orders to pry this open, we're never going to find out anything about Bill Clinton either. The fact of the matter is, you just put another puppet in the presidency. That's the fact. At this point, I don't know if I am or not. Hillary has a Jewish parent, that's true. Trump has no political history, and so he can be used, all the while shielding the media and government from blame for everything he does. Good point. That's basic point plan, yeah. You pretty much outlined the state of Donald, except you don't really talk about the Russian involvement. Donald wouldn't have even been able to finance his campaign if Russia hadn't been a big, huge contributor to him financially over the years. No, what happened was you're brain dead, I've been censored, and Donald Trump is a cheater. That's what happened. It's not about winning or losing at this point. It's about cheating. And who cheated? I didn't cheat. Trump aspires to being a Nazi. He read Hitler's speeches next to his bed, according to his wife Ivana, his former wife Ivana, in a deposition. Okay, this is rare.
Oh, yes. I get the camera.
It's that one over there.
And add. Is it up down here? Oh, which one?
Mm-hmm. It's the 2010. This one right there.
Okay, and now I have to move it to the front.
It's strange. It is there. Yeah. Okay. And then we have to just bring it out.
And then we have to bring it to cat cam.
There's the cat cam. There you go. And then move it down.
Sorry. Let me try that again.
That'll be amazing if it stays. It stayed. Wow, look at that.
There's the cat camera.
Okay. This is Amber, by the way. She's our kitty cat, deluxe, and she's just the best lap kitty ever. I'm petting her right here.
Thank you. I'm glad you like my coat, and I'm glad you like our cat.
You can take the America for Sale down. It's kind of a superfluous.
Okay, good.
You like my crotch? Thanks. Yeah, this is a great tie. My sister Connie gave me this. It's got an eagle on it. And that eagle would eat Amber if Amber was an outdoor kitty. She can't go outside, otherwise we've got eels out here. Lots of chemtrail behavior. I'll talk. Just leave that up for later. I'll play it later.
All right, David has it.
Amber has the most incredibly soft fur. It's more soft than a mink coat. Thanks, Scissor Fight. We'll check that out in just a bit. I don't think Hitler was a great leader for Germany. No. Hardly. In fact, when Hitler left Germany, it was worse off than when Kaiser Wilhelm was in charge during World War I. Hitler left Germany in shambles. Calling him a great leader for Germany I'm sorry, but you don't lose 4 wars at the same time and expect to call that a great win for the country.
Maybe on Thanksgiving, 806.
I am sorry to say that Amber is living on Friskies, which is a GMO food product. I can't control that, but I'm assuming she'll be okay because she's been doing really well. We don't put her on Friskies all the time. She's mostly on dry food. But she has a little wet food, like 1/3 of a can every night. I think Trump will try to be any number of things. One of those would be Hitler, sure. I know. Well, I can't afford non-GMO cat food, and I can't find it either. I haven't been able to find non-GMO cat food.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm afraid she's a 14-year-old kitty that's already expanded her life considerably living inside, so if she can live to be 38 years old, she'll be the next world's record holder. And we're hoping she makes it.
I don't like going into PetSmart. Was it PetSmart that I couldn't walk into? I just don't like the
it's
smell
Petco.
of... Oh, that was Petco.
Yeah.
Maybe PetSmart would
It's
do
a
that.
smell of mildewed
it's
bedding
like
for a...
It's the bedding. It's not necessarily mildewed, but it's just
What
the
is it?
sawdust.
Sawdust smell.
Sawdust mixed with, like, fragrances in the cat litter.
I got a warning to all of you. If you are buying weird cat foods for your cat or dog, don't. Please don't. I want all of you to know that there are some really bad cat products coming out of China. That's why we've been just going with Friskies, and she only eats one type of cat food.
Yeah, I don't.
And she won't switch brands of dry food either.
I like cedar normally, but I don't like it in the Petco or whatever it is. I just... that's just not for me.
Yeah, you love the smell. And what we do with the cat litter, by the way, in case you guys want to talk about mundane things like cat litter, we use the actual wood pellets you would put in a pellet stove for our cat litter. And
yeah,
it works
like
great.
Feline pine.
It works fantastic.
Same thing as feline pine.
40-pound bag for $5 at Walmart. And you don't need to buy cat litter anymore. I mean, this cat is pretty low maintenance. The wood pellets work great, and when they absorb the urine, you don't smell the urine at all until you like empty it 3 or 4 days later. All right, let's talk about dangerous Chinese products that seem to be good. Well, they're not. They are too good to be true. So pitted. They just found out that organic products made in China are not organic. They don't seem to care about the environment quite like we do. So we're concerned that because shipments from China have been going on without any checks or controls by our government, the FDI does next to nothing to check the food quality that you have on the shelves in your market. Almost every company that produces food simply signs an affidavit saying they've followed certain standards. They don't even care. The Food and Drug Administration rarely gets involved in any food quality issues unless somebody dies. I don't have any mental health records, so I got news for you.
Oh, sorry.
They're looking at my crotch now.
I'm sorry.
Remove
Here.
the crotch pitch. Thanks.
Done.
No crotch pictures
Done.
here. Thank you. I'll be back.
All right, take your time. Okay. So while David was gone, while David leaves, I'm going to tell you view as list or view here. I think that's probably good. Okay. I'm going to show you Time Magazine's 25 Best Innovations of 2016. How about that? So these might be ideas that you might want to get for Christmas. Here's one. The levitating light bulb. $349 from Flight. So this guy Simon Morris has been obsessed with making objects float in midair. He managed to turn a skateboard into a hoverboard, but he couldn't ride on it. Now he's applying that same passion to Flight, a light bulb that relies on electromagnetism to levitate and spin. Wow. And on resonant inductive coupling. Wireless power transmission to shine. He sees his design as a seamless blend of science and art, honoring both Edison and Tesla. Flight has sold so well since its official January launch that his team is planning to introduce a whole ecosystem of floating products, including a planter, which they're going to call Life, which debuted in June. And he says, we're just scratching the surface. So Flight, $350. Cool little Christmas gift. Let's look at the next one. Best Buy is supposed to get some tomorrow. Yeah, I know, $350 for a light bulb. I probably wouldn't do it. The folding bike helmet, $120 from Morpher. Jeff Wolf has been involved in a serious crash, one that might have killed him were it not for his helmet. So he wondered why so many people refuse to wear a bike helmet. Mostly because bike helmets are hard to carry around. They're thick, bulky, don't fit into bags or backpacks. And so he realized he could fix it. He made it from interweave plastics that's just as strong as traditional counterparts. It meets safety requirements in both the US and Europe. Flexible enough to fold almost totally flat, making it easier to transport. And so he shipped the first unit to Indiegogo backers who helped raise almost $300,000. So now he's in talks with stores. $120 back helmet hey, that might actually be good, especially if you live in a big city. Yeah, maybe Meta-Nemesis, the light bulbs. Solar panels that don't stick out. This is developed by Tesla's Solar City. They blend in and look like normal solar panels, or they look like normal roofing, but they actually are solar panels, which is pretty cool. Shoes, ooh. This, I can see all the young kindergartners wanting to wear these. Shoes that tie themselves. Nike's Hyper Adapt 1.0. I don't know if people would spring for this kind of money. $720. A pair of self-lacing shoes. Nike Hyper Adapt. When wearers press a button near the tongue, the Hyper Adapt automatically tighten and loosen around their foot. Wow. Simplified shoe fastening could give athletes an edge during competition. It's especially useful for people with impaired motor function. Wow. Who knew? Shoes that could tie themselves. I seriously wouldn't spend that kind of money for a pair of shoes, but alright. Soccer fields that fit anywhere. The unusual football field developed in Thailand. Alright. So a real estate firm in Thailand took a different approach. As part of a recent project, the company used aerial photography to find what developers calls untended areas, or unusually shaped patches of land that weren't being used. Then it covered them with concrete, paint, and anti-slip materials without typical boundaries. The first 2 fields opened earlier this year. They're packed with kids as soon as school lets out. So Thailand plans to open a third. I would just make sure that it's porous material that is good. So you love me free of all that goopy makeup. This is my weekend look. My weekend look is non-makeup. This is how I am naturally. This is how I would be if, like, first thing in the morning, pretty much. Ooh, the headset leading a virtual revolution. PlayStation VR, $400. I could see this being a big seller at Christmas time. If you're going to spring for $400, you must really want to impress that person. Trust me, put away the virtual headsets, put down your phone, give people the best present. It won't cost you a penny. It's your presence. Like being there, talking to the person one-on-one, saying hello, not focusing on anything else. Shut down your electronics. Just talk. How are ya? All right, thank you, 251. I know, your presence is a very good present. All right, but if you really can't manage to spend your presence with someone, I guess you can get them for a $400 virtual reality thing, and then you could maybe record yourself saying, "Hi, how are you?" and just nodding your head like you're listening for real. Your present. You have a present to your family is not being present? Ah, really? You probably need, be more positive about yourself. As some can be pretty free, 818. It all depends. Just give them your presents. Vape pens, $100 each. Millions of Americans rely on over-the-counter medicine to treat routine complications such as insomnia and headaches. What if they took hits of pot instead? That's what California-based HMBLDT Humboldt is banking on with its new line of vaporizer pens. When inhaled, the pens dispense a dose of cannabis oil that Humboldt says has been chemically engineered to make people feel a certain way, either calm, sleepy, relieved of pain, all without getting high. Cannabis delivery methods like this one haven't yet been thoroughly vetted by physicians, but as more states legalize medical marijuana and more studies show that it does have merits, products like Humboldt's, now available only in California, could become increasingly commonplace. This really can help people feel better, says Jason DeLand, the company's head of strategy.
What is this?
I'm
going to toss it.
Sure, go ahead.
Thanks.
All right, the ultimate alarm clock. Hello, Sense. $150. Ooh, this looks really kind of cool. I love that song. Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. Google's Earth-free virtual reality app came out last week to use with the Sony VRs. Actually, you can make a virtual reality headset with a smartphone. Well, I mean, it's not free. You have to have a smartphone. But if you have a smartphone, you can make a virtual reality headset for free. Just Google cardboard. Seriously, you just need some cardboard and a smartphone. All right. The ultimate alarm clock. HelloSense. $150. So this could actually help improve your sleep. It gauges the temperature, humidity, light, and even air quality in your bedroom to engineer a perfect sleep environment. It can monitor your sleep cycles and wake you when you're least likely to feel groggy, all thanks to simple voice commands. Indeed, Sense and its companion pillow sensor is no ordinary alarm clock. It took hundreds of prototypes to get it right, says James Proud, founder and CEO of Hello, which makes sense. Early adopters report that using the small glowing orb feels almost as natural as crawling into bed. Wow, that's pretty cool. Hello Sense. $150. I don't think I would need it because I don't have a smartphone yet. That's not this kind of show. 166. If you watched me for any period of time, you know that I'm like I'm like a super conservative lady. You feel horrible because you're in love. Is that a guy thing? I think girls don't feel horrible when they're in love. They just feel like all swoony and happy and things like that. Of course, unless you're in love with like someone who's in love with someone else. All right. I'm sorry that you feel ignored. Do I have a smartphone? Well, I kind of do, but I don't like my smartphone. I need a different smartphone. You just saw Dr. Strangelove recently for the first time. Isn't that an amazing movie? And then 3 days ago you watched it again, and now you kind of want to watch it again. I mean, seriously, it's one of those that gets under your skin. It's kind of weird. All right. I need a smarter phone, too. I need to learn how to use my smartphone. Actually, no. I'm a Google girl. I need an Android smartphone. I know that's the truth. So I'll just do it eventually. I'm just too cheap right now. All right. Tires that spin in every direction. Eagle 360. How cool is that? Developed by Goodyear. Notice they don't. Priceless! That's how cool these are. They're totally priceless. As companies race to develop self-driving cars, Goodyear is reinventing their wheels. Its spherical concept tire, which debuted in March, allows cars to move in many directions, including sideways into parallel parking space and at specific angles and speed to counteract slippery surfaces. Wow. The key is magnetic levitation. Whereas traditional tires are bolted to cars, these hover beneath them, free from the limits of traditional steering. That is so cool. I like it, Goodyear. I'll beta test it for you. All right. You think you're in love, and you think you're loved back, but it's complicated because you don't want to be the first one to say, I love you, and like be out there and vulnerable and those kinds of things. I'll tell you what, saying you love someone is definitely taking a risk, but you're not going to hurt yourself physically. Maybe you might get a little bruised emotionally. Don't do it in the heat of the moment, like when you're like totally intimate. You need to do it like if you're saying you love you for the first time, it needs to be like, you know, romantic, maybe like on the beach or candlelight dinner or something like that. But and then you just say, I love you. I love you too. Show you care. Showing blah what your heart beat, for it was the heat of the moment. All right. You're waiting. It is a little awkward, but you know what? Chances are they love you too. Well, 355, you can think of whatever you want. Yes, a man should say they love you. Everyone should say they love you. If you ever want someone to tell you that they love you, you should tell them that you love them. And you can start with, I care about you. I really, really like you. You want to talk about television and how television is ruining people's lives. And I think that most people aren't necessarily watching television in the traditional sense of television anymore. And that now we live very isolated lives. Like in the past, when television and cable was pretty popular, then we had this like collective separation is what I heard, which was pretty cool. And so, you have to start being honest and trusting yourself. And so when we lived that collective separation, it was like, kind of like the days of, I have to say, early Survivor. Because like when Survivor first came out, it was like, everybody was watching Survivor, but everybody was in their own bedroom watching Survivor, or not bedroom, but house watching Survivor. And then like people would come to work the next day and they would all talk about like, oh, look what happened on Survivor, And now like people are like, oh, well, we all kind of, some of us watch Netflix, some of us watch Amazon Prime, some of us watch Hulu, some of us watch YouTube. Some of us watch me. So it's, and yes, I remember the days of Big Brother, like early on, it was like, you'd find a show and there was like this following and people would all follow you, follow that show. And then you would find this commonality. And now we're kind of like going toward even more separation, because now with video on demand, it's, people don't all like wait till Sarah, except for the people that all wait for me to come on at night. They have some sense of commonality. That's why I like Video Shop, because then you can all be here together, like building a community again. But anyway, the whole thing with television today, I don't necessarily think it can build that sense of community anymore. I think that there's more and more people who are separated. Like, people do talk about, oh, I watched this show on, on Netflix or Amazon or whatever, but it's kind of like book recommendations. Like, I read this book and you read this book, and unless you all agree to watch it together and discuss it together, then it's just kind of leading to more separateness. Now, there is definitely some themes that I see in shows that I tend to watch that seem to have themes and seem to have some propaganda in there, but it's kind of like maybe there are people leading us in some direction or something like that. Anyway, that's what I have to say about television. All right, I really like these ideas of 360 degree or the Eagle 360 tires. I do have to say this to Goodyear, if you're listening, is that if you're going to reinvent the tire, you can go further, and you could reinvent, like, does a car really need 4 wheels? Or is it better with 3? Or is it better with 5? Do they all have to be evenly spaced based on traditional methods? It seems, our roadways were actually designed based on a horse's ass. a horse is behind, because basically the way that we invented wheels, and we created wagons that were tied to horses, and so those wagons were perfectly separated to attach to a horse. And so then the ruts in the road were created from those wagon wheels. And then the first cars that came along, and the trains too, is based on those ruts in the road, because the roads existed. And so, can we actually redesign transportation from a whole nother perspective? I'm glad I could educate you a little bit. I actually got that information from... It was a really good book. Oh, goodness. Now the name escapes me. It was about... the whole book is about new designs in like more eco-centric ecology designs. I'll figure out the name eventually. It was a really good book. Okay, I'm going to go back to Time Magazine. Let me see if I can find it, or if I lost it. No, where is it? Oh, here it is. Okay. All right, but I do like the whole 360 tires. Good start. Good direction. Ha, they don't have to have a direction. Ha ha. Okay, anyway, I like puns. A sleeker, smarter toothbrush. Only $25 by Quip. Ooh, I might have to buy this. When it comes to dental hygiene, most Americans are slackers. 1 and 2 don't brush twice a day, and 3 and 4 don't replace their bristles every 3 months. No matter how many times they're warned of the risks, which include cavities and gum disease. We needed to get people to care a lot more, says Simon Eniver. So he and a partner, Bill May, set out to make brushing feel more rewarding. The result is Quip, a simple, affordable, battery-powered toothbrush that works like its counterparts from Oral-B and Sonicare. 2-minute timer, vibrates every 30 seconds, reminding users to switch positions. But it feels like something you'd find in an Apple store. Customers can even opt for a matte metallic finish. Well, that's kind of nice. Does it have the same intensity as the Sonicare? So maybe I would use it. If it's only $25, that is pretty cool. And you'd buy a new one every 3 months, or do you replace the head or something like that? All right. Dishes that work around the cognitive decline. Do you guys think we're in a cognitive decline? Maybe so. It could be. Ooh, I'm going to totally do that one next. Chat room celebrity. Move over Raspberry Pi. Here are a dozen better alternatives. One place I love is... all these names are escaping me. Liquidware. Liquidware.com or liquidware.net has pretty... it's like an engineer's playground. If you like that kind of thing, building up from... like... if you would if you like that kind of thing, Liquidware is pretty cool. All right. Oh. After her late grandmother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, Sha Yo felt helpless. It was especially frustrating, she recalls, to sit with her during meals while she struggled to perform basic functions like using silverware without spilling. There's nothing I could do, Gao says. Inspired by grandmother's plight, she created Eat Well Assistive Tableware, a dining set designed to make mealtime easier for people with Alzheimer's and other diseases that affect brain and body function. Among the designs, using bright colors to help people distinguish their plates from their food and putting suction bases on the cups to prevent spills. So the goal is to bring back the joy of sharing a meal together. Oh, that's so sweet. A Better Shelter, the all-purpose shelter, co-developed by the IKEA Foundation.
Really? So
Yeah.
this is an outside IKEA shelter that people can make portably?
A line of temporary houses equipped with features like door locks and solar panels that could be shipped flat and assembled in under 4 hours. The UN High Commissioner for Refugees has helped send more than 16,000 of these units all over the world. Wow.
Thanks, IKEA.
Refugees and aid agencies are turning better shelters structures into hospitals, reception areas, and more. And in Greece, on the border of Macedonia, the shelters are being linked together and used as early childhood development centers. In Djibouti, their walls have been retrofitted with air conditioners, which are plastic bottles cut in half to facilitate airflow. Now designers are trying to revamp the better shelters to allow for even more flexibility.
Pretty soon.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Better Shelter.
Better Shelter, it's called.
All right, that's the first half of the 25. 25 of the cool inventions from Best Inventions of 2016. I will resume with the others at about 8 o'clock.
Great.
In about 45 minutes or so.
Thank you, Sarah. Enjoy your vacation. By the way, those grapes we got for 50 cents are good.
Are they pretty? They looked pretty good. That's why I was like, sure.
It's a Welch's grapes, but they're not, I don't know if there's pesticides on them, but they sure taste good.
That's the thing I do really well, though, is narrating and reading out loud.
Sarah likes to do that, and it's good to be informed. Many of you need to be
that way
informed.
you can just, like, when I'm on, you can just pretend I'm not here, lay down, close your eyes, and just listen to my beautiful monotone voice and take a nap.
Yeah. Some people go to sleep with our show, by the way. One guy from Brazil said he puts our show on and just hits it, and he goes to sleep listening to our show.
He goes to sleep when he listens to me, and then when David starts rhying, then he wakes up and he's like, okay, I got to get to work.
Yeah. It's like a constant... it can stimulate it if you're awake, and it can put you to sleep if you're going to sleep. So
Exactly. All right. Have a good night. Actually, I'll be back in about 40 minutes to read to you
to have another visitation with people.
Best Inventions of 2016.
I'm going to change my coloring. I've looked a little pale here, so I'm going to add some yellow.
Actually, it might just change when I leave the room.
Oh, because of your colors, yeah. Oh, yeah, it does kind of do that. Auto-corrects. Wow.
Pretty amazing, right?
It is. Thank you. Wow, this is too many breaks? No, I have 2 breaks during the show. Sarah gives me like a 30-minute break and then another 30-minute break. I only expect 20. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. What time do I wake up in the morning? I'm up till 3 in the morning sometimes, so I wake up at 3 in the morning. I go to bed and I sleep for about 5 or 6 hours, and I wake up around 9. 8 or 9, depending on whether Sarah's up and she has to go off to work in the night. I don't get enough sleep. I admit that my sleep schedule has been more like Albert Einstein. He got 4 hours sleep, and he said one of the tricks he got to sleeping was he held an orange in his hand, and he laid down on a bed, and then he'd hold the orange in his hand until the orange dropped, then he'd wake up. 7 hours is definitely good enough. My goodness, you're getting 7 hours sleep. You're doing better than I am. Trump has an island? Really has a Scottish island? Tell me about that. I didn't know Trump owned an island. He only has only $4,000 million. He's not a $10 billion guy. He has $4 billion. So. You know, I kind of don't want to talk about Trump at all in the show. So, could you just remove Trump from your brain? That'd be great. Close your eyes and I'll miss you. Tomorrow I'll kiss you. Close your eyes and I'll miss you. And I'll kiss you. Close your eyes and I'll kiss you. All my loving I will give to you. I was just playing some Beatles music. I was brainwashed at a very young age. The whole Beatles thing, by the way, how great the group was mostly because they were used as a brainwashing tool for mind control. So they said Jimmy Carter was old 20 years ago and he's still alive. Jimmy's looking good. I'm amazed. Jimmy might make it to 120. And he just kicked cancer. I think because Jimmy's now in a medical marijuana state of Georgia. I can just imagine him and Rosalind. Oh, Rosalind, could you roll another one of those joints? I'd love to have that. I was looking at this Playboy magazine and I lusted after it and I realized I can't even get it up. Honey, wouldn't you rather just get high? David, you'll make great smart babies. I don't know about that. I mean, I'm planning on putting my genetic material in a vial in the refrigerator, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. It's kind of weird when you do that. Oh, don't touch that little container in there. That's off limits. David, go Trump, go. What are you, just trying to piss me off? Major disruption plan for January 20th. Disrupt 20 coming up. January 20th is going to be a major rioting in the streets. What happened is they picked a real divider when they selected this guy. Yeah, in case you didn't know, the entire election process is rigged. The vote didn't come through the way you think it did. Russia got a hold of the Florida count and controlled the entire election and set the pace for the tone for Trump to win. Russia is doing this simply to help Trump. They helped with the WikiLeaks, according to him. Now, we know that WikiLeaks has been compromised, so we don't really know if they weren't dealing with a Russian connection. So when you heard recent statements from WikiLeaks, one of the chairmen, because the other guy died, the idea of them actually saying that the information that they had was not coming from Russia might actually have been fake information. When Donald Trump asked for the Russian government to commit espionage against our country and go deeper into Hillary's emails, in my opinion, he violated the Espionage Act. But I also believe he violated the Logan Act. So there's a lot of things that I think he's violated already. But the fact of the matter is Russia helped Donald win because Russia wants to control us from within. So this organization here is all about people that don't like Trump for whatever reason. You may have your own opinions. And it's putting together something going on in 20th. Call for a bold mobilization against the inauguration of Donald Trump. Interesting. Yeah. If Trump is to be inaugurated at all, let it happen behind closed doors, showing the true face of the security state Trump will preside over. That's fantastic. All right. Well, we'll see if people want to go to the site and check it out. It's disruptj20.org. Big, huge event in Washington, D.C. Would you seek better relations with Russia? Absolutely. So with me, it's not either or. I really believe that we need some sort of communication with Russia, but not to the point where we're bending over and asking them to, penetrate us. It's kind of like your neighbor who you don't really want to get to know. Because, if you got to know him, it turns out he's a serial killer and he feeds you venison and says, hey, you like that venison? And you find out it's actually human meat. It's like a nightmare experience to get close to somebody you shouldn't be. We shouldn't be close with Russia. I'm not saying they're serial killers. Don't get me wrong. My analogy is carried forward just in terms of people not wanting to know their neighbor. You just don't necessarily need to know what's going on in their house. We know that Vladimir Putin has controlled his elections and the press in his country, so there's nothing positive about that. Thank you. We have a lot of people admiring my shirt. Thank you so much. I know. Pretty good for $2.95, don't you think? Thinking the Secret Service will allow disruption on January 20th. Interesting. Tuesday is Soylent Green Day. Good for you. So you finally get to eat. Soylent Green is people. Is this bunched up or yeah? It seems to be okay. I think what you're concerned about is I don't press my shirts. I know you're not impressed, but this isn't a starch shirt. This is just something I had to stick on. Yeah. I have some brand new shirts I haven't opened up out of the package yet. But I'm one of these guys that likes to wear them threadbare, so. I've never had human meat, but I mean, you can imagine your neighbor coming on over like Ed Gein when he handed out his neighbor's venison all the time when out there in Indiana. Oh, that's Ed. He's got venison, and everyone, he was just a funny guy. Turns out Ed Gein killed 47 people in his small town and fed those same people to his neighbors. I'm never going to be a Mexican? Well, thank you. You're garbling your words, 1412. I think you're on drugs or something. David, I can tell you as a fact, Trump has invested in islands in the north of Scotland, which holds water rights. Well, Chico, thanks. Good for Mr. Trump. I mean, whatever. I'm not worried about his business involvement with Scotland. I'm concerned about his business involvement with Russia. This is what concerns me. Ed Gein. You want to know about Ed Gein? Speaking of our anti-war rally, there are some really bad serial killers in the history of serial killers. Ed Gein is one of the worst. 5'7", unassuming guy. Dangerous as hell. It was Michigan. Buried in Michigan. Okay. It was Wisconsin this Ed Gein was. It wasn't Indiana. I'm sorry. Now, this is the guy that killed a whole lot of people and got away with it. That little man right there. Yeah. So I don't want to give him much exposure on the show because it's really nothing to talk about. But his crime scene photos are absolutely over the top. Let me go to the wiki on this guy. So you're talking about Pence now? Close your eyes and all you see. You think Pence is one of those, what are they called, chicken hawk Republicans? Are you serious? Pence seems like a holier-than-thou-art guy. I don't know, but I've met a few people in my life that are, you'd think they'd be on the TBN show. Just like Mr. Honest and gosh darn it loves the Bible and does everything a man should do to be a good person. I mean, you can't really spite any of those things, but what is he hiding? Ryan? What do you mean Ryan Cares should be banned? Are you here, Ryan? I haven't seen him in here. Paul Ryan refused Trump any deportation force. As he should. Paul Ryan is the voice of reason. I don't know what happened to my fence, but it's back again. So a lot of people have been confused about foreign policy over the few years, and many people don't realize that the government has been funding ISIS. So instead of obviously focusing on rebel troop support, which Trump should have said he was going to pull, but he hasn't, instead of ending war, Trump is going to be a puppet for the people that put him in power, which really want war in Syria. And the fence idea was my idea, the 1,000-mile fence idea, so he took that idea and he upgraded it to a wall, and now it's a fence. So he's got that going, which is pretty obvious. The fence idea is, yeah, Paul Ryan didn't downgrade the wall to a fence, Trump did. He knows that he has to copy me word for word. He can't take anything I say out of context. He loses track of what I'm saying when he does that. The establishment totally owns Donald Trump. Thanks, Jews. Yeah, let's not forget the good Jewish people in our room here. thank you all for coming in here. We do support the idea of good relations with Jewish people, as you know. But you well know that 90% of various sectors of our society, the medical profession, the legal profession, the entertainment profession, the banking profession, is predominantly Jewish people. Yet Jewish people only occupy 3% of our population. That being said, you've got to wonder what's going on with equal opportunity. Well, it turns out the B'nai B'rith organization, the Anti-Defamation League, actually did a lawsuit in, I think it was 1975, against the American Medical Association, and consequently legal education organizations followed suit. The AMA were keeping the quota of Jewish doctors at 5% in the 1970s. And that automatically lifted, and then all of these Jewish doctors flooded the scene, and you've got lots of Jewish doctors, lots of Jewish lawyers, and lots of Jewish bankers and entertainers. I don't want to take anyone's job away. I love the fact that people are out there doing what they love to do when they're in those jobs, and they're good at it. But they charge too much for it, and Obamacare is costing us way too much because of the cost of a lot of these Jewish doctors. So what I'm proposing is introducing a trade deal with Cuba to bring in 150 to 250 public doctors, just for starters, and get them integrated, who are English-speaking Cuban men, who are doctors, men and women, who would love to get a public job in our public hospitals making $150,000 a year. Going to lower the cost for our Medicaid and our Medicare, substantially lowering the overall load on our budget. Our national budget is straining under an increase of $38 billion more per year now with Obamacare. Yeah, and I think Cuban doctors would really immediately fix this. And then we want to bring in a lot more people like you and your family and your kids who want to become doctors or physician's assistants or emergency medical technicians. That's what I want to do. We want to open up law to many more people. We want to drop the restrictions states have requiring people to be in college to pass the bar. I think one of the executive orders I'm going to pass is that anybody can pass the bar. This is true in Mississippi only. Mississippi, anybody can go in and challenge the bar. But in every other state, there's all these little laws which prevent equal opportunity and equal protection under the law. So I believe the law itself should have equal opportunity and equal protection, don't you? So anticipate in tort reform, minimizing court cases that are over a certain amount, eliminating massive lawsuits against individuals or corporations will be part of a package that I'm going to propose for 2020. But it'll also include every state forcing them to allow somebody to challenge the bar. So anybody could become an attorney who qualifies. All right? That's a big, huge switch from where we're at. Tort reform is another thing I'm very big on. Trump never talks about it. This is a Border Patrol video. This is a Border Patrol image that actually is not copyrighted because it's government protected. Thank you, though. Any image the government produces can be used in our show. Any government, even NASA photos. I can show you a picture of the backside of the moon practically here. Let me give you an example. Space, the final frontier. You are on the starship America's Third Party. Oh, I've got quite a chemtrail up here. Look at that. Wow. Electric chemtrails, folks. Brand new. Okay, like this picture right here. This is not copyrighted. It's a NASA picture. Even though it's definitely got NASA signature, it's a U.S. picture. We can use it. It doesn't matter. Any government-related picture can be used in our show. Thank you, though. Scumbag. Scumbag. Oh, sorry. Oh, was I on mic? I'm sorry. Scumbag. Here you go. Whoa, electric chemtrails. This is bizarre. What the hell is this? Man, that is so strange. Wow. That is bizarre. High density concentrates of some heavy metals right there. That's what that is. That's intense. They just dumped some heavy metals on you, man. David Lunar. In your face. Chat in your face. That looks like a napalm chemtrail. Yeah. Shia is really upset the wall can't be built. Don the Khan is powerless against the establishment. No wall, only a fence. Well, the fence idea is really strong, and it will work. I'm not telling you NASA wants me to use the picture. I'm just saying it's one of those fake pictures that NASA takes from side angles. It's actually a satellite that sits on the side of the Earth, under the ionosphere. We can't get anything outside of our ionosphere. The fence idea is good. Yeah, we're locking down on the fence idea. Problem is, Donald Trump is going to probably start a war with Mexico. So this is going to be a diplomatic nightmare by 2020. Thanks to you and me, I'm more than willing to communicate with President Nieto once I'm president. I'm not allowed to do it. It's a violation of the Logan Act if I do it now. Well, there's no need for it. Claim our minds, man. A laser defense system is totally possible, where you can set a laser beam up at one location with a protected horizon, and then another laser beam a mile and a half away, a catch point, the receiving laser beam, and all of these things are protected completely with barbed wire and fencing. So you got your laser beam there. Anything that goes through it gets burned to a crisp. And it has to be more than just one beam. It could be many beams. Be a complete laser beam highway. Well, it's just, this is a technology that's still in its infancy, but masers and lasers are going to be used to defend the border. But I don't think this is necessary to really get into right now. We can cut the cost of the fence with cargo containers. But I mean, multiple lines with multiple extraction points wavering in the air like that. You get zapped every time you encounter it. Just an idea, no big deal. That is cost effective. Yeah, and it can run on solar energy. Totally cost effective. Way more cost effective than a wall. Your wall idea was dead on arrival, you know that. I told you the fence would have to be used. Okay, now here's a mayor's pledge to defend sanctuary cities against Trump. So we got a mayor. What is it? Rahm Emanuel is going to create a sanctuary city and he's going to pledge it against Trump. Mayors are going against him here. Seattle, Democratic mayors of major U.S. cities that have long had cool relations with federal immigration officials say they'll do all they can to protect residents from deportation, despite President-elect Donald Trump's vows to withhold potentially millions of dollars in taxpayer money if they don't cooperate. De Blasio, Rahm Emanuel, Seattle's Ed Murray are among those in sanctuary cities who tried to soothe immigrant populations worried about Trump's agenda. Wow. Murray says Seattle has always been a welcoming city. The last thing I want is for us to start turning on our neighbors. So, I'm against refugees coming into any of these cities. I'm against refugees coming into the U.S., so I'm obviously in favor of any efforts to prevent refugees to come into our country. They just don't want to lose votes. I know they're limousine liberals. They figure that if they kiss the immigrant's ass, it's going to win them an election. When in reality, look what happened with Trump. Obviously, he didn't seem to phase his electability by going against immigrants. I knew that was a strong position. I actually ran on that position in 2008 and on the no refugee plan. But we can't treat people, with absolute indignities. We have to abide by the Geneva Convention at the very least. His Gestapo is dead on arrival, I know, yeah. Well, they're good Christians. Bernie did not take a vow of poverty. No, Bernie lives in one of 3 $600,000 houses. And he drives an Audi R8. Well, Trump, if he has any balls at all, he'll bring in the National Guard and force these mayors to abide, just like we did with George Wallace, when he stepped up and refused to let anybody enter a college who was black. Or when Ronald Reagan told the air traffic controllers that you're out of a job. Start packing your bags. We're bringing in the military air traffic controllers to take over our entire FAA fleet. And there's not a damn thing you can do to stop us. Ronald Reagan really shocked the liberal community when he did that. And he changed the dimension of a lot of the government jobs. They're not caving in to public unions like the education area has. You couldn't get a single air traffic controller union formed in America after that happened. Yeah. Paul Ryan stepped right in the way. Paul Ryan is, I got to tell you guys, I personally don't have a hatred toward Paul Ryan. I don't love him, but I don't hate him either. Paul Ryan he's standing in the wake of Trump's excesses because he is kind of the representative of the Tea Party, which, I remind you, won 2 midterm elections. He's just a stable, mediocre, moderate guy. I mean, he's just, yeah. Well, we've got a lot of people who are refugees coming into the country. When Donald Trump telegraphed my ideas, not allowing refugees in the country, and he started pitching this to the American people, Muslims didn't take him seriously. And now they're really worried. Paul is intelligent, yeah. No, Paul Ryan isn't doomed. Paul Ryan has a strong base. He wouldn't be Speaker of the House if he didn't. I personally think Trump is a joke. Trump won't be able to walk over anybody. Trump is having his gonads removed right now. He will be without gonads by the time he takes office. He'll be like a worm. I pledge to honor the Constitution with all my power. It's almost unbelievable. He's actually pledging to follow the Constitution in the reading the inaugural oath. And he himself has already said he's not going to in any way honor the Constitution. He's going to avoid people having freedom of religion, forcing Muslims to be ID'd, which is insane. Muslims are going, what? This is supposed to be America? And then, of course, he's going to violate all of your freedoms when he creates a police state and starts deportation process. Are you Muslim? I can just see a cop coming to your door, knocking on your door and saying, we are here to check if you are Muslim or not. Can you prove your birth certificate, Mr. Sponheim? You look Muslim. I mean, everybody's going to be held accountable if we have deportation forces. So, yeah, this is kind of unfortunate for a lot of you liberals. But I'm a former social liberal, too. I understand the limitations on illegal immigration. That's why I had or no refugee policy. And still do. If Obama's not leaving office, you tell me what's going to happen between now and December 19th, when the electors decide if Trump really is their guy. Because the electors have till December 19th to say no. Not going to dead. Only 36 people in the Electoral College have to defect from Republican to Democrat for Hillary to be put in the White House. I'm not kidding. It can still happen. So you're saying that martial law will be declared. Well, I don't think the rioting justifies that right now. You notice how George Soros pulled back some of the purse strings on the rioters? They're like, dude, I can't make $35 an hour anymore, to stand out here and, protest, dude. Paul Ryan's job will be to limit the damage Trump will do in the Republicans. Good luck with that. Paul Ryan's already tried to save the Republicans. Trump is an expert at... He's a hostile takeover expert. So when you look at Trump, he's just going to hostilely take over the Republican Party and they're going to cave. They already have. But they've already invested themselves now in his transition team. Most of the George W. Republicans are right there right now with all their lobbying connections. They're sitting there like a feeding trough waiting to jump into the White House. And that was because Donald Trump had no other options. He had so much infighting among his thug friends that they couldn't find out who's going to be the top thug. Well, now that they've got Republicans now camped in there, you've got all kinds of thuggery going on, and it's just going to be a massive takeover. Meaning Donald Trump will be powerless. Donald Trump, his ideas will be neutralized by these Republicans, who did exactly what George W. Bush did. Started 2 wars and haven't helped any of our social programs and haven't built jobs in this country. For starters. Not to mention their incredible neglect of the environment. Like Donald Trump said, there is no global climate change. It's a Chinese plot. Of course there's global climate change. In fact, they are dumping chemicals on our heads every day to create it. So every day that you go outside and you see chemicals like that electric chemtrail we just showed you, you could just tell yourself you don't know anything about what your government's doing. It's a Club of Rome plot, I know. So is the chemtrails. There are people like One Pacific Redwood who does this every day.
Okay, today is October 31st, 2016, and we're watching the Northeast Pacific Water Vapor Loop. And this is going to be just a short video. Basically what we're watching here is a developing hurricane force system right here. And what's happening is that a transmitter is generating a blockade right here. We're watching that happen right here.
Okay, so he's talking about a phased array transmitter, a HARP-like weapon being used on our coastline along with chemicals from sprays, and he's traced all kinds of photographs, aerial photographs to chemtrail spraying that goes on and on over the skies of Washington, Oregon, California. We get the chemtrails that soak up water like silver iodide. They get chemtrails in California that have way more aerosols and heavy metals. And this is going on nonstop. An endless spraying of our skies above us. So, and his work goes on to talk about the recent reveal from John O'Brennan about how these chemicals are going to be used to somehow reflect the sun. There's no scientific data that that's possible or true. Some jargon head idiot professor is claiming somehow dumping chemicals in the atmosphere is going to somehow keep the sun's rays from heating up our planet, when in fact we are going through an ice age right now. We are literally going through an ice age. We're heading into the beginning of an ice age. It's a very slow process. So these chemicals are not going to need to reflect the sun. They're going to actually just create an empty ozone layer, which means that the deadly UVC rays that are, when you go outside, you get UVC rays now that you didn't get when you were younger. And those are cancer-causing rays. They actually cause basal cell carcinoma on your skin. So you don't get a lot of sun exposure.
But we have all this right here. And some of this may move into LA. And so that being the case, we will see the jets out preparing the skies with the chemtrail mix. That will again prevent any opportunity for rain. We have to have 2 things for rain: moisture and lift. And the chemtrail aerosols prevent the atmospheric lift. Now, I don't know where the solar radiation management argument comes from. I don't know who came up with that and how, what the findings are that qualify that as a legitimate argument. I'd like to know more about that. But all the research, the experiments that I've done have proved that there's only one reason why these are sprayed, and that's to affect the relative humidity levels and to prevent precipitation from incoming moisture fields. So if anybody out there knows more about this solar radiation management argument, I'd like to know more about that. It doesn't seem to prove out. They're spraying chemtrails all year long. In the winter time, there's no reason. In other words, the argument doesn't seem to hold any water when the jets are out spraying in January and February and March, which is where we see the most spraying, actually, is in that period of time over Southern California. And so solar radiation management there's no need for solar radiation management in January, February, and March.
Exactly. Why would we have solar radiation management in January, February, March? This is the time that California gets rain, but they're hardly getting any rain. So this guy, One Pacific Redwood, completely tracks these global mapping systems from the Doppler radar. And he does a daily thing. It can be really boring, but we get feeds from Scissorfight tracks this guy and gives us feeds every night. We actually see what's going on above you. But man, we're getting dumped with chemicals, and it's not pretty. Now, I just added the $400 per month per U.S. adult citizen as a plan for the country. Some of you may not like this. This is a social solution to the low end of our society and the failure of our retail economy and the slowdown in our service sector. Scissorfight says the California drought is a man-made drought. You need two things for rain. You need moisture in the atmosphere and lift. Whenever a moisture front starts moving into California, the jets start spraying the chemtrails to prevent any lift. I see it almost every time the Weather Service calls for rain. And Scissorfight lives there, and he's taking photographs above his house that are very, very indicative of nighttime chemtrail spraying. But they're doing everything they can to dry out California. Now, if you don't like Paul Ryan because somebody who has a little bit of power has stopped your great plan that you think Trump is going to implement despite all the opposition, and some of you are like, I don't understand why people are revolting against Trump. None of you who voted for Trump apparently listened to anything he said. You just listened to the hit points, the ideas that he stole from me. And that's what made you think Trump was like me or had great ideas. He pissed off hundreds of different sectors of our society during the campaign. I agree the overall effects of automation robotics could be detrimental to humans, regardless of the labor equation. I'm not disagreeing with you. The problem is you cannot possibly make our country competitive if you don't embrace automation and robotics. Now, Donald Trump is claiming that he's going to stop robotics. How the hell are you going to do that? So robotics is already being used by elitists to minimize labor force. The fact is, jobs will be removed over the years to come, but we have to get creative and create jobs. Now, we're talking about solar panel installation jobs that humans have to do that can't be done with robots. We're talking about emergency medical technician jobs, more public doctors, but lower pay scale. We're talking about jobs fixing up houses in America. Robots can't do that. We can renovate 11 to 18 million houses currently that are just sitting there, foreclosed or condemned. And we're talking big-time jobs. So don't think for a second I don't care about growing jobs. But Trump isn't going to pull 24 million jobs out of his ass. It's never going to happen. Ending war and keeping our standing army where it is a very good solution. I don't want to reduce our forces by 500,000 like Obama said he wants to do. And when they come home, they can actually assist us in areas like the airports, providing immediate replacement for the TSA. Lowering the population isn't going to solve anything, and plus you're not going to be able to lower the population effectively. Now, there's evidence that there are current sterilization techniques going on in our society right now. The HPV virus women get, and men apparently, has a vaccine. The human papillomavirus is a very dangerous thing they're claiming to women. But it's more than likely that the vaccine causes sterilization of women. And that's something to factor in. So there's an effort to sterilize the female population in our country with the HPV vaccination. All the vaccinations are designed to kill you off at a young age. If Trump was a statement, I get that. But the libtard commie globalist community don't understand it. I'm telling you Trump-tards that no, Trump really isn't a statement. Trump is just lying to you. He's lying to you, and he's going to do whatever his handlers tell him to do. He already met with Kissinger twice. I don't think you understand what's going on. You got BS'd by the two-party system yet again. You bought into the two-party lie that they're going to fix the problem and they've got solutions. He stole 10 of my ideas to get elected, and you bought every single one of these great ideas that I had pitched and had been censored for the past 8 years. Trump, I told you he's not repealing Obamacare. I told that to you. He's not going to put a deportation force. I told you that. The wall is now a fence. I told you that. I need you to realize that you're never going to get answers from Trump. I need you to realize that you have never been able to solve problems with the two-party system. And if you look back historically, I'm right. There is no evidence the two-party system has been able to actually cut the budget. There's no evidence that it's able to even produce any new ideas to stimulate the economy. It is essentially dead in the water, and you voted for a corpse in terms of a political process, a dead process. So draining the swamp is a wet dream. He already installed George W. Bush lobbyists, controllers in his administration. The transition team is George W. Bush 2. So a lot of you are really going to be disillusioned over the next few years, and I'm sorry to have to call you Trump-tards. I don't like using names. I really don't. I've done it in my life because I myself was called names. I was called a birther and a truther and all kinds of things. Yeah, they're causing the drought in California, and you asked Scissor Fight, I'll answer my position on that. Guess 121. They're causing a drought in California because they want to, and they can. And what they get from that, the elitists that own property rights and water rights, like the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, they're going to get higher prices for their water, number one. And they're also going to get lower prices for the land that they buy up. So they'll be able to buy up cheaper property. They're all about gaining more control and more power. They have more than enough. Tard is offensive, I agree. That's why I use it. Yeah, and then I have people calling me a fag. You know, so I've got to deal with that on a daily basis. So I've been a victim of verbal abuse my whole life, so I'm sorry I fall back into that category when I call you a Trump tard. Why do you think will go down in history as a better president, Trump or Obama? Neither, Billy. There won't be a history. History is going to be completely erased pretty soon. We will look back on what we had as a lost civilization soon. Do you think anybody gives a rat's ass about the Olmec and Toltec tribes of South America? Do you think any one of the Mayan leaders are remembered today? Hello? Verbal abuse victimization is something that I have myself been a victim of. Yes. California drought has killed 102 million trees. Just last year, we talked about 66 million trees. Now we're talking about 102 million trees. We're talking about redwoods, California pines. We're talking about the most beautiful sequoias on Earth, all dead because of this attack on our country. Trump doesn't acknowledge chemtrails being an attack on our country. He's never discussed it publicly except with Alex Jones, and it was an anecdotal statement he made. The California drought has killed more than 102 million trees in a die-off forest that increases the risk of catastrophic wildfires and other threats to humans, officials said Friday. So there's another reason to dry out California. It'll be a tinderbox ready to go. No one talks about my butt. I am a master of verbal combat. Simply because I'm engaged in it nonstop on a nightly basis and no one's defeated me, including you. You just got banned. You were bullied and became a bully. I grew out of that many years ago. There you go. 121 knows what we're talking about. I was bullied, but I was never a bully. I've only resorted to the word Trump tard and Clint tard and Obama tard because so many came in here and called me a birther and a truther. It was my defense. I'm sorry I succumbed to it, the idea of calling you a name. But it's the only way I can make you understand that you've been victimized yourself by lies. Obama lied to you Democrats, and Trump is lying to you Republicans right now. And I can't make any other statement to make you understand that. Robert, I don't think it's possible California is going to drift into the ocean. I think it's imminent. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. Yeah, there's a massive fissure along the California fault line. You know where it is, San Andreas, and it's going to create a massive fissure along the coastline eventually. The question is, how much drop will the California plate incur? And that's something that only guesswork can give you answers to. It could be a slow process of 50 million years. So you've got another 50 million years of good property values. But if I were you, I would consider buying some property in the Mojave Desert. It could be California beach property. All right. Vegas will be an oceanfront. Yeah, you never know. But you can imagine what would happen to our country if we had a massive earthquake on the West Coast. It would completely end the world that you know today. Your job would cease, no matter what you do. Your entire life would change. You'd be worried about how you're going to heat your coffee without a microwave. You'd be worried about the simplest things, keeping flashlights available so you can see at night, staying warm without heat. I don't believe there is a potential major catastrophic event coming to the California coastline or to Oregon, Washington, despite what people are saying. I'm saying I'm going to keep insulting you and taking you out of the show if you keep coming back here with your mindless approach to the show, which has been consistently mindless for the past 6 years. We've tracked your IP. I don't track IPs, but others have. We know who you are. Yellowstone caldera is a major threat. And there's another huge boiling a caldera under the Mississippi. I'm sorry, I'm not going to say anything. Why would he so upset about Paul Ryan? I mean, you didn't realize that Paul Ryan wielded power over Trump? Trump is just all bluster, man. Everything he says is like, blah, blah, blah. And just to get a reaction. This guy has used bluster all his life to get loans, extensions on his credit, working deals behind the scenes with some of the guys in the New York to make things happen. This guy is all bluster. And worst of all, he's never cut a dollar out of his enterprises. They seem to run with endless waste and overload. The only way he cuts money out of his operation is to not pay people. There's over 60 people suing him for non-payment. And he just gave $25 million away to a few people that threatened him in a lawsuit, claiming that Trump University was committing fraud. I mean, it shows me that Trump University didn't even teach Trump how to handle his own money. Why would a person cave for $25 million on a deal like that? If he was so solidly sure that his Trump University didn't commit fraud, did I say Trump fraud? Didn't commit fraud, he would have definitely gone on and filed lawsuit after lawsuit, countersued. Like he usually says, I'm going to countersue. Paul Ryan's nothing to worry about. He's just a placeholder in our government. He probably will become president as an interim president if something happens to Donald. I don't think that Pence is going to be able to follow up. If we impeach Donald on grounds that he has violated the Logan Act, which I think we will do. Let's go to the impeachment room right now and talk, shall we? Okay, here we are in the impeachment room where the Logan Act has been violated. Essentially, he's trying to defeat the measures of the United States when he allowed Putin to come into the conferences. When Moscow had contacts with Trump and Putin was making his move, this is an outright violation of the Logan Act. Moscow had contacts with Trump team during campaign, Russian diplomat says. This is a classic violation of the Logan Act. Second of all, if he doesn't put all of his finance in a public trust, that's a prosecutable offense as well and could bring charges. So this guy could be serving time in jail. That being the case, Pence would no longer be his alternative. The alternative would be Paul Ryan for president. Of course I want to impeach Trump. You think this is a joke? We're not talking about Bob here. Where's the impeachment room? It's right here. We're in the impeachment room right now. I believe that we can work toward impeachment, Shia. Yeah, you guys have to understand that your representatives can actually receive a letter. So maybe if we construct a letter, and I'll put a letter on our website, you can copy it and send it to your representative. That's one thing I'm going to probably work on this weekend. Thanks for coming in my impeachment room. Yeah, the Logan Act is not something to be taken lightly. It was around in 1799, I believe, and it was designed to prevent this exact same thing from Russia invading our politics. Coming in and taking our freedom away and allowing Russian mobsters to make deals with Trump on the inside with no public trust is classic impeachment material. This would we can call this officially Russian Gate. And Russian Gate will open up a massive, Russian Gate, thank you. Russian Gate will be the U.S. equivalent of Watergate for Trump. You know, Ryan is just carrying the old George W. line of privatizing Social Security and Medicare. Medicare and Social Security could not possibly be privatized, 100%. George W. tried to put this in front of a democratically led Congress and tried to get the idea passed of privatizing some Social Security. And had he done that, it would have been hit really hard in 2009, right after he left office. So it's interesting. If the Republicans had done the calculations, they would have lost a lot of the Social Security Trust Fund had they privatized it. So it's good they didn't. So you'd think Paul Ryan would wake up. Paul Ryan's not the smartest tack on the block. He's not going to be able to come up with quick solutions to troubling problems and facing the country. What Paul Ryan is just, like I said, a figurehead, kind of like a rubber stopper that holds the door open. He doesn't have the mental acumen to solve the problems, but neither does Trump. And that's why they're both parlaying back and forth with reality checks. George W. probe, Secret Service losses, guns, badges, yeah, I heard about this. The Judicial Watch is inspecting what's going on, and the U.S. Secret Service has lost thousands of agency computers, radios, cell phones, weapons, credentials, and vehicles since Islamic terrorists executed the worst attack in U.S. history, allegedly. And we do a Truth Tuesday show where we look at the inside job theory, the idea that 9/11 was perpetrated from within our country. Come on in on Tuesday if you want to talk about that. Trump's making everybody nervous. I think there is going to be a standing protest coming up.
Your Wi-Fi might have gone off, but I'm not sure.
Huh. Well, it seems to be running here, but not over there.
I don't know if it is.
I'll check in the other room. Okay.
Check. Can I take these off for now?
No, just go to the other room. We just go over here. I have other rooms set up for you.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Oh, our logo. Look at that. Okay. And why don't you customize this room?
Why don't I do it number 4?
Yeah, why don't you make a room of it? Just now copy this, go like that right there, copy the camera, and we'll go right to number 4, and we'll go paste like that. Start a new room, Sarah. Make it your room tonight.
Be my scene. The Sarah scene. Alright, so what kind of background should I have? Hello, everybody. I'll just talk to you with a black screen. That'll be good. It's just... That's pretty funny, Turkey Hunter Bane. That's not me, but maybe that's what I look like. This room is a mess. Yes, I did hear that, Shia. However, the way... So our election system is not set up where people directly vote for the president. We have an electoral college. Yeah, I know, Shia, but it's due to our electoral college. Which, I think could be... We can look at revamping it. I think we have to look at, though, states having a say. No 121. I don't even recall using that terminology in the... I don't recall ever using that terminology, but I may have once or twice, but usually not. It's not the... it's not my go-to term. Here are my hands, floating in the black scoop of space. Alright. Yeah, I know, Shia. Well, you know, the thing is, like, what we can do is every day we can work toward making our country just being the best people we are. Which I am. Well, besides David, I would support myself. David could run for a different office in a midterm election if he really chose to. Well, the reason he's upset is because he felt like his ideas were stolen, Shrek. Well, I'm a very loyal person, 1212, so I'll always stand by your man. At this time, Robert, I'd rather not talk about other people. Well, perhaps some of the people on his team watched our show and took some of David's ideas. That's not ever going to be that kind of... This is not going to be ever be that kind of show, 184. There are plenty of shows like that all around the internet. If you look for them, I'm sure you can find them. There you go, 782. If only you were in the right place in the right time. And David has great ideas. You know, Robert... How?
You put these chips away somewhere, right?
I just put them in where the bags were. Like
okay.
I just put them on that like bottom shelf. No, this is not that kind of party. 488. I'm a very loving, caring person. Yeah. How? How exactly do you want me to do that? No nomadic explorer, nor do I ever plan to show it again. I'm not a troll. So what gives? I'm not protesting. So, there you go. Yeah, didn't he dump out of the race 3-2-1? No, I don't support protesters. I don't support destroying things because you want to be listened to. No, I just decided to go with a black background. Yes, you can hear the squeak of the leather. I support the First Amendment. I'm sure there is, Nomadic Explorer. You're going to have to look through all of our former videos to find it. Well then, fine, peacefully protest. I don't support violent protest, but peaceful protest is part of the First Amendment, and everyone has a right to be listened to. I'm not going to join you. Everything remains to be seen, Robert. All right. Well, I could see that happening, Shia. Okay, what I wanted to show, I wonder if we still have it. I wanted to go back to Time Magazine. That was what I was looking at. That's what my portion of the show is going to be about. So we were talking about the all-purpose shelter that was built by IKEA, and it's currently in use in refugee camps in different parts of the world. It's pretty cool. I like that. I don't know what the price is on it. Thank you, 488. Well, I'm sure sanity will play out, Shia. Alright, a stronger, softer hairdryer by Dyson Supersonic. $400. James Dyson has famously streamlined all kinds of air-centric appliances, most notably vacuums and fans. Now he has set his sights on the hairdryer. Unlike traditional models, which he dismisses as noisy, heavy, and not fast, the Supersonic does its job with remarkable efficiency. It's quiet, thanks to a tiny jet engine-like motor that reaches 110,000 revolutions per minute, making it ultrasonic and therefore inaudible to the human ear. I wonder if I would be able to hear it, because I have extremely good hearing. So I'd have to try it out before I bought it. Especially at that price, because he says they never design down to a price. So it's $400 for a supersonic hairdryer. Ooh, sweet potatoes that could save lives. You've seen that hairdryer? It's cheaper on Home Shopping Network? Nice. Alright, Nomadic Explorer. You voted for no one? I voted for David Sponheim. So, in sub-Saharan Africa, vitamin A deficiency affects more than 43 million children under age 6. It also affected children in India, and what they did in India previously is they would have the people go into their crops, and they wouldn't let them do it if they didn't. Anyway, they would let these people go into their crops, but they would only take the weeds. They would take the dandelions. It would make dandelion tea and dandelion salads. Anyway, they would get their vitamin A from the dandelions. Then when Monsanto and Dow came in, no, I don't know, Shrek, to India and sold pesticides and herbicides which killed the dandelions, then there was a increase in vitamin A deficiency, especially in the poorest people, because they could no longer go into the crops and get the dandelions, because there were no dandelions, because the herbicides killed them all. Anyway, so it's kind of interesting that this kind of deficiency could be solved by going to more organic means, but now they're looking at growing. Instead, they want to create genetically modified sweet potatoes. They say the key is biofortification or crossbreeding locally grown sweet potatoes with versions rich in vitamin A so that over time the crops naturally get better at addressing the deficiency. They bred them to be more resistant to droughts. Anyway, I wonder if they were always vitamin A deficient or if this is a recent development. Yes, I have heard that. I guess it all depends because I seem to have two types of dandelions around here, like a soft leaf and then I have a more hardier one. Well, David was a write-in candidate, Shrek. That's how. A drone with mass appeal. $1,000 drone? Drones have become smarter, faster racers and better photographers, but of course they're still too big and bulky to carry around comfortably. So the DJI's Mavic Pro, which debuted in September, has obstacle avoidance technology, a 4K camera, and the ability to track subjects while flying. But it folds down to the size of a loaf of bread, smaller than any of its competitors. That's pretty cool. Yeah, aw. The no-touch thermometer, $40 for the InstaTemp and $350 for the InstaTemp MD. So it's a no-touch thermometer which uses infrared technology to measure body core temperature quickly and precisely. These stand out ARC's InstaTemp and its more precise clinical version InstaTemp MD was recently approved by the FDA. Once the device is placed roughly an inch from the patient's forehead, it spits out the temperature in 2.5 seconds. Coded red, yellow, or green depending on the reading. Wow, that is so cool. They're marketing it to consumers and healthcare professionals. I think there's another market for you. Maybe I should be... Anyway, no. Well, Walton, you can by making great videos. China presses tech firms to police the internet. Oh, I'm sure they want that. Because I like all these tech toys. What's the best way to cook a turkey? Probably in the oven at whatever they say. What do they recommend? Like, is it 400 or 375? I would say 375, 350 for many, many hours. That's a good way to cook a turkey. And then make sure you baste it. Cover it so that all of the moisture doesn't leave. And then you only uncover it in the last hour or so. Yeah, well, that's what David's thinking. He said, Sarah, maybe it's time you cut off your hair. Maybe I think that's it. Don't quote me on that, Robert. I'm not the world's best turkey person. I've never actually made one solo. I've only made one maybe with David. So David can tell you better how to cook a turkey than I can. But I do know that if you cut, the covering part is very essential. How do you cook a turkey, David?
Well, it takes about 4 hours
Okay, 4 hours.
at about 350 degrees. Even though they say it can be cooked at less, you really have to. And it all varies based on the size of the turkey. You want to stuff it?
Oh, yes.
You
You
didn't
need
get a
to
background.
take out. I know, I like the black. I like
Okay.
it just. I'm a minimalist. But, of course, okay, so when you get a turkey, you need to thaw it out for multiple days. Like, don't wait till the day before to buy your turkey. You need to buy your turkey, like, tomorrow. You need to leave it in the fridge between now and T-Day. And then so that you can, like, let it thaw out naturally. So that otherwise it's going to be frozen and it's not going to cook properly. Then on T-Day, you need to actually get super hot water inside the cavities. I do know this part. And so that it's kind of starts to pre-cook. You can boil some water and then pour that in there. It starts to like pre-cook the inside hot. And then you put your hand down into the innards and you pull out all those guts.
That's because it's still frozen inside. Usually, after even 4 or 5 days, that turkey, will if it's in the refrigerator, will still be frozen inside. So the hot water sterilizes it.
And it gets it starting to cook. Yeah, you get all the gizzards out. You get all the plastic. Sometimes there's little plastic things. They say they're like oven safe, but I don't believe that. You need to take it all out. You need to take the part on the back and take all that out. Mm-hmm. And then, they put the guts inside. They actually not only leave the guts in the turkey, they actually cut the neck and put it back in the turkey.
Yeah.
So, because then people take those what they call the gizzards and those parts, and then they cook them, and that's what makes a really great, tasty gravy. They don't put the head in there.
You slow cook the gizzards. I've made about 45 turkeys, or maybe 50 turkeys in my life so far. So
they get more weight by soaking it in brine, which adds more salt to it. Mm-hmm. So, do rinse your turkey really well. Maybe we should do our whole turkey cooking thing.
We could, yeah.
I mean, it is T-Day. It's David's cooking show Thursday, so.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm just going over here to grab something. Hang on. And I'll stop that over here. Okay. I like your room that you've got here. I'm fixing it up a little bit. We are an island unto our own here. Political
David's
island.
Changing my room. I had the whole, just minimalist black
I wanted a
screen.
holiday theme. I'm sorry. I wanted to, especially with the winter coming, I want to go to a southern climate.
The gizzards make good gravy and you add it to a little bit to your stuffing.
I didn't buy a factory farm chicken. We got a what is called minimally processed, no hormone turkey.
Okay.
Big difference between that and a factory farm chicken.
You don't need to brine your turkey. People can add salt at the table. When you do the brine thing, it just adds people more salt, which you increase the risk for heart disease. And then, then you're going to lose your family members. They're already overeating on that day. Don't brine your turkey.
Angeltown says, "Are you two married?"
No, we've just been together forever, like 2 decades almost.
Yeah, we've been together for a long time, and we are a couple that choose to be together. Yes. And our spiritual relationship is ours, not the government's. And the government shouldn't tell people when and where to get married. That's why the governments get into really thick water dealing with the transgender, lesbian, gay marriages. Same-sex marriages are really... if you want to get married, have a pastor marry you and your lover. But really, the government shouldn't even be involved. And any state that wants to opt out can. You don't have to offer marriage contracts. No, all the states can pull right out of the marriage contract business.
I will say this. I don't normally eat ham, but Trader Joe's has this uncured ham, so it doesn't have added salt, and it's actually really good. That's the only ham I'll eat.
I like that ham, yeah.
Maybe there's other places that have uncured ham as well, but That's the only ham I'll eat is uncured.
No, I support gay marriage as long as it's not an official state marriage, because I don't support states involved in marriage. I don't think the government should be allowed to offer marriage contracts because it's a classic breach of separation of church and state.
I believe in basting the turkey often. I said cover it. You know, like David's whole steam method of cooking that you guys have grown very familiar with? That's really important and essential in a turkey. Because otherwise all the moisture goes out and cooks out, and then you get a dry turkey, and it's not good.
Stuff your turkey, and that's the best part of your whole holiday is learning what to put in your turkey stuffing. Now, I sometimes in the past have made oyster stuffing. I don't like that anymore.
You know what my favorite is? Just an apple nut stuffing.
Apple.
Pecan, walnut.
Yeah, let's do apple, pecan, walnut.
That's my favorite.
We got to put sausage in there, though, because the taste is really, it absorbs so much of the
sausage is good. I used to eat pomegranates, but I don't really anymore. All right, I'm going to give this show over back to David.
Thank you so much.
I do like this thing.
The no-touch thermometer, yeah.
They have
$350. Yeah.
Well, that's a more accurate one, but they have one for $40.
Well, that'll be down to $2 in about 6 years. You know,
okay,
price
I'll
of all
have
these
to wait for it.
No, get it for $40. The
no,
Arc Instatemp.
I agree with you. I'll wait.
But no, I mean, I remember getting a blood glucose meter for $100, and now they're like $12 or $6 for a blood glucose meter now. Well, I like a lot of sausage in my turkey to give out the flavor. You see, sausage adds a certain roast aroma to the turkey taste. Polish sausage, forget it. Don't do kielbasa. It's a little too acrid, bitter. But even Farmer John's, come on, just dice it up. Stick her in there. Yeah. Nourishing CBD infused hemp milk set to hit the stores soon. Wow, great. I love to see this. People suffering from intestinal, irritable bowel syndrome is very common now with people eating GMO food and pesticides and herbicides. Well, this nourishing CBD infused hemp milk sets to hit the stores soon. So at night you won't get that high drinking your milk before you go to bed. You'll be getting benefits. Cannabinol is an incredibly new thing. Hemp milk has steadily been gaining popularity over the past few years. It's widely respected for its numerous health benefits, and the fact that it's a great vegan alternative to conventional dairy milk makes it all the better. What more can you ask for? A psychotherapist and developmental consultant for Rowligen, like religion, has come up with a way to make hemp milk even better, infusing it with CBDs. I'm not going to do a commercial for Natural News here, but that sounds good. I like it. CBDs are cannabinoids. The beneficial aspects of marijuana, or cannabis, as we call it. Well, you shouldn't be paranoid. If anything, this is a time not to be paranoid about marijuana. No, I've got a product I picked up called Liberty Cream, or Liberty Lotion. It's sold heavily out here in Washington. Yes, ground turkey would be organic. Thank you. But seriously. Oh, it was a joke? I'm sorry. Jeez, Dave. I don't think you would get paranoid, though, if you were around people that say, hey, it's okay, we don't care if you're high. It doesn't matter to us. The thing about what's going on is we are being inundated with chemical pollutions in our society. Marijuana, or legalization of THC in any capacity, in any derivative, is fantastic for our economy. It's already changing the nation itself. We've got, 24 states now with legalization plans. It's just amazing. Our country is becoming awakened to the benefits of something that's been around since the 1700s. Even the Declaration of Independence was written on hemp paper. Isn't that amazing? And here we're returning to our roots. So in a way, this is kind of an awakening. So let's carry forward with that. But we got a bunch of stalwart, dense stumps out there, like Trump, who just don't make any sense. Can you pronounce inundated? Inundated. We've been inundated with BS about the dangers of marijuana. Some of you are suffering from some sort of a mental problem. Your head is kind of like a cog in a wheel. Your brain seems to be focused on just simple thoughts. You refuse to accept the possibility that the world is slightly different, inundated. Welcome to my world. Welcome to the world of Mr. Smith. Mr. Anderson, I see that you have tried to understand what the world is all about. You made a big mistake, Mr. Anderson. You simply cannot know. You are unaware of the programs running above your equation. You are simply a cog in a wheel, Mr. Anderson. I'm going to put my name on the screen, and you're to believe that this is David Sponheim, running for 2020. And we are America's third party. There we go. The plane. Welcome to Fantasy Island. Hello, my friends. Tattoo, say hello to the people. Hello, the plane. It's a question as if, not when. It's a question of it's inevitable. It's not a question of if. It's a question of when. It's inevitable. So I control your illusion. It's that simple. And anything beneath the scrim of your illusion takes on a new dimension. You see, Mr. Anderson, no one really is here to mention what it is. You simply have to live it, Mr. Anderson. Oh, yes, you can tell David had a little, well, thank you for asking. We would like to take you to paradise, Mr. Anderson, but we can't. You see, paradise is an illusion. It simply makes you think that your life could be better. The grass is greener on the other side, Mr. Anderson. You carried yourself through your life thinking that you've got something better, when in fact, what you have before you, your wife, your children, are simply as good as it gets, Mr. Anderson. So you should appreciate the small little pleasures in life and not want something greater, which of course the machine tells you is out there, that you can have a beautiful life in paradise. And you see, the whole system is set up to make us think there's a better world out there for all of us. And we're right there. Thank you. I'm glad you're smiling. We have a person with a smile tonight, folks. Thank you so much. If one person could smile tonight, that's better than nothing. Back to the machine, Mr. Anderson. Thank you. So I'm glad you're doing better, because you were a little depressed the other night. We were walking you through some down times, asking you to get a pup tent because you felt suicidal. We've got to do everything you can to change your environment if you are that depressed. Now, what I recommend to all of you, if you are really feeling down now that Donald Trump became president, or will become president, assuming he passes the muster, is to clean your room. Clean your house, vacuum it. I mean, make your environment more feng shui. I'm serious. It works. Yes, it can all work. You can improve your life. You can actually make it more beautiful. Yeah, do some spring cleaning, even though we're heading into winter. Oh, you broke up with a woman that just keeps me down. Finally free. Wow. So you were in a yo-yo relationship with your woman, and now you're no longer going through the emotional mountains and valleys. David, do you think you are a machine that thinks it is human? I find that very interesting. It's simply not true. We are all individuals, right, Mr. Anderson? You know, if I were a cybernetic organism, human flesh of a metal exoskeleton, I would probably not know it. So you're right. You got a good point. There is always a possibility that we're born into this human flesh and we think we're special when we're just simply part of the program. Yes. Okay, with Trump, Gingrich, and GOP calling the shots, NASA may go back to the moon. Whoa! This is great. Well, I'm so happy we're going to go back to the moon again. Whoa! Boy, then wouldn't that be hilarious if they attempted to pull this one off again? With all the conspiracy theorists out there going, I don't believe there's any photography past the ionosphere. Oh, you know, this is just a distraction from the hard reality that Russia is sleeping in the White House right now. David, have you called Trump yet to offer your concession? No, I won't be conceding to a person who stole 10 of my ideas to win this election. CSI Miami is clearly not broadcasting. I've decided to open up my own forensics department. Yow! Sorry. The portal is open. There is no exit from the Matrix, Mr. Anderson. All back doors lead nowhere. Yeah, we should get that clip from Miami Vice. Let's go back to the stories at hand here. Okay, inside Trump's financial ties to Russia and his unusual flattery of Vladimir Putin. Yeah, let's get to the bottom of this right now. Donald Trump was in his element mingling with beauty pageant contestants and business tycoons as he brought his Miss Universe pageant to Russia for a much-anticipated Moscow debut. And nonetheless, Trump was especially eager for the presence of another honored guest, Vladimir Putin. Trump tweeted Putin a personal invitation to attend the pageant, and a one-on-one meeting between the New York businessman and the Russian leader was scheduled for the day before the show. But Putin canceled at the last minute. But he sent a decorative lacquered box, a traditional Russian gift, and a warm note, according to Aras Agalarov, a Moscow billionaire who served as a liaison between Trump and the Russian leader. Still, the weekend was fruitful for Trump. He received a portion of the $14 million paid by Agalarov and other investors to bring the pageant to Moscow. They signed an agreement to build a Trump Tower in the heart of Moscow. Okay, so this is a really good post if you really want to grab a little info on the Trumpster. I'll give you the link. If you're getting more background as to how deep Russia is up America's ass, that's one good checkpoint right there. Checkpoint Charlie. Yeah, we're not sure how deep it's going in, but right now the American government is pulling a gaper by allowing a man who's violated the Logan Act to come into the White House and even engage in the transition team. We're already at vulnerable national security risk levels. I think it's DEFCON 3. Oh, come on. Trump has already got he's in bed with Russia. He's been in bed with Russia for a long time. Yeah, the Washington Post. Read all about it. They've got lots of articles on the Russian connection to Donald Trump. David, have you considered what you're doing for the Thanksgiving show? I haven't, no. I'm assuming we're starting a show. I'm having an early dinner like I normally do. This is our 8th year of Thanksgiving shows, so it's no-brainer. We're just going to cook our show. We might do a pre-video and run it live. I'm not sure if I'm going to videotape the making. I might videotape the making of the turkey in the morning. Just because, put it in the bag and put it on my David Sponheim show. Dave, you're teasing your gay viewers. I'm not gay. I know. I will never be in. No, I can't be in jail soon because I'm not in Japan. Yeah. I'd have to be in Japan to be illegal, but I'm living in Washington State, so since I can definitely smoke marijuana in Washington State legally. So if you think that I'm going to jail in Japan, you'd have to get me to a Japan. A big clip tie shirt is extremely important. This, sir, is an Oxford, and I wear it with pride. You cannot take my Oxford shirt away from me. Calling it a big shirt is a slam against my credibility as a nobleman. It was $2.49 at the thrift store. Have you ever eaten with Sarah? But of course, we dine nightly. My staff brings in the dinner, and we sit comfortably in our palatial estate, overlooking, well, I won't tell you what river we overlook. But if you think the veneer of living in a mobile home is something that I engage in, well, yes, you can believe the hologram. But in reality, Sarah and I dine on nothing but the finest edibles, non-GMO organic food. I'm sorry. We're talking about ending war here. Looking over the River Thames. We're talking about ending war here. Focus on it. Okay? Trump wants to start a war with ISIS. ISIS is a creation, a propaganda tool created by Clinton and Obama. Are you going with my logic here, you Trump-tards? Okay? He's never said that he wants to pull any of the rebel funding for rebel actions in Syria. That means, and I come to my the quintessential point of my argument. I must go now to the impeach Trump room. No, you just hate ISIS, I get that. But Trump himself said that ISIS was created by Clinton and Obama, which is what I was saying for 2 years. He didn't really understand it, though. All right. This is the possible scenario. Trump sees everything as a bargaining chip. Everything. This guy doesn't release any equity unless it's got to be released. He just settled for $25 million on the University Trump case, the Trump University case. That means that those guys that went and sued him made a hell of a lot of money. Let's just start with this idea. Trump has not put it on the table that we're going to pull funding of rebels. Trump's meeting with Putin, even verbally he's talking to him on the phone all the time because they're bosom buddies. Trump knows that Putin wants something. Whatever Putin wants, Putin can get because Trump is for sale. Has been ever since he started. Okay. Say Putin wants us to stop funding rebels, which he's openly said time and time again in every meeting in front of every single, any particular political meeting he had with John Kerry resulted in him getting angry and saying, I just want you to stop the rebel support. But they completely disagreed. So this is what he wants. Now, rebel forces getting funding from the U.S. is going to be a constant thing for our country according to the ultimate plan that was put in place about 4 or 5 years ago. And that's to trigger the dethroning of Bashar al-Assad, the leader of Syria. So if we're going to give up that big thing, and Trump's going to say to Putin, okay, I'll give that up in exchange for something else, the question really is, what is it Trump wants from Putin? Now, it could be more sales of condos in Florida. It could be any number of negotiated settlements that they've had on the side. We don't know because we've never seen the secret relationship that Putin and Trump have. It's obviously never, there's no slander here. It's called inquiry. So in order to look at what Trump is going to do, Trump is going to hold the bargaining chip up, the rebel forces as the bargaining chip, to ultimately destabilize relations with Trump, or with Putin, with Russia. So if this happens, and Putin gets really pissed, more so than even being called a jackass, like Obama did call him a jackass. But say Putin, and he's a very intelligent leader, mind you, he's not going to just, whatever they want from Trump is going to backfire. Okay? So that's what is called national security risk for our country. Now, I've been front forward about taking our support away from the rebels and telling Putin on the phone that we will not in any way fund rebel actions in Syria, and we respect the boundaries of Syria. We'll do everything we can to provide humanitarian assistance outside of Syria, but we cannot press deeper in. We understand the concern. Trump never said that. So this is clearly going to be a major conflict between Putin and Trump. He's not going to ameliorate the problem. It's not going to make it better. It's going to make it worse. And you're going to piss off the sleeping bear of Russia, and that is not a good move. You see, it's not good to be in bed with the enemy. And that is precisely why Trump and Putin's relationship is undermining national security and why we need to impeach Trump. Let's go to the other room. Thank you. All right, now, ending war helps our economy, brings our troops home. Having a plan like this, which has been out of the box for years, we really believe that our homestead renewal plan will fix the job problem immediately. It won't provide 24 million jobs, but Trump could never justify that statement anyway. It will provide 1 million to 2 million jobs across the country fixing up houses right away. $10 an hour may be too low of a salary come the new inflated salary time. We don't know what that price will be. Well, look I'm in here trying. I tried to get rid of Obama. I tried to convince you Trump-tards that we have to prosecute Obama and that Trump already flipped on Obama, now believes that Obama was born in the U.S. when he was clearly born in Kenya. Hey, Mad Dog, how you doing? But you got a situation on your hands now that without real solutions like ending war and getting our troops home, putting a job plan on the table, stopping the chemical destruction of our environment with chemtrails, you're never going to get anything out of any of these puppets that are put in charge. And you're not going to get a renewal of the planet and a restoration of our environment, which is what we're offering the voters of America for 2020. Cleaner waters, cleaner air, and environmental technologies that'll save the day. Now, this is what we're going to be known for. And getting people $400 per U.S. adult just to get through the month with a minimum amount of food supply. There's veterans out there that are on the street right now with nothing every single month. And they're literally starving to death, and they're freezing in the winter, and our country's done nothing for those people. Thank you. We've got some chat tards here. So this is the dream I have, the re-agrification of America, getting average people a baseline. And we call it Baseline Plus in our book, Hybrid Capitalism, where we believe that we can get people to the baseline without killing them off, obviously. You can help people with low-cost energy, decent quality food. You can lower the risk of heart disease and diabetes. These are things that we can do at the baseline. But if they want to get anything, they're going to need a job. They're going to need a job. The Rothschilds are Georgian? Okay, thanks for sharing. I did not know. Appreciate it, 2 and 2. I was under the impression that they were Germans. The Bauer family was a German family, not a Georgian family. I don't exactly know what you're saying. The welfare plan is not in any way a welfare plan. In fact, this gets rid of welfare. We have the goal of getting every average person in America who's a U.S. adult citizen $400 per month. It's not that much to ask. In fact, it's a drop in the bucket compared to welfare and the excesses of welfare. It eliminates the infrastructure of fat-ass social workers going, I'm sorry, I'm not going to give you any money if you've got Billy Bob living with you. Or, you got to report back, you earned $3 the other day, and if that goes down all that paperwork that comes with welfare and food stamps. What this is an expansion of the food stamp program, but eliminating non-U.S. citizens completely. Green card holders wouldn't qualify for this. Illegal aliens wouldn't qualify for this. This is a real plan with teeth in it. And it's so simple, it's ridiculous. It's mindlessly simple. And that's the key, is keep the plan simple. Another thing that I promise, when 2020 rolls around, I will not in any way sign any bill that comes in front of my desk that's over 100 pages. Thank you, chat room celebrity. 100-page limit on how long a bill can be. Automatically trimming the mega bills, the massive pork barrel spending of government, and making sure those bills are lean and ready to deliver a solution for a problem in America. Then I'll sign it. But of course I have to agree with it. But keeping the bill size to 100 pages, and a president can do this. Congress can't do a damn thing. They have to produce a 100-page document, or else they don't get anything passed. So a president has a tremendous amount of power to simplify government. There's a clip that came in called Grocery Shopping During Venezuela's Food Shortages. Okay, thank you. Play that at the end of the show. You know, if you could sway the electoral college's votes my way, it would be a miracle. You've got till December 19th. We've got 1 month. I don't think that's possible. I can't even get 1 minute of airtime. Beekman, I'm fully aware of 2020. I'm not worried about what's happening right now with the Trump administration, because I believe that we've got a collapsing economy that's going to just fall flat on his face. He's going to be stuck with the entire nightmare. In a way, he's running interference for my plan. I mean, I always try to find silver lining in every dark cloud. And the dark cloud of Donald Trump is a miasmic threat to our national security. But the silver lining is we can come out as a better nation without a massive amount of debt. We could restructure under the United States of America through bankruptcy. I mean, there's a lot of things we can do. But obviously, we can't just allow the global powers to eat us up like he's trying to do. Allowing Russia to camp out in his White House is this huge, massive mistake beyond your wildest comprehension. Well, you can like saying that to yourself. Just go ahead and lull yourself to sleep. Counting Trump's sheep. Bah. The Trumples, we'll call them. Like the sheeples. Well, Trump is an expert on bankruptcies. The problem is, our country has been in bankruptcy. The United States of America has been in bankruptcy since 1933. We needed to restructure that. We didn't. Instead, we adopted a new plan called the United States Corporation, which was already in place in the Act of 1871. They created the United States Corporation. And then they went on and used that in 1933 to just move forward. That's why we have departments. That wasn't in our Constitution. There's nothing in our Constitution to say we need a Department of Energy, Department of Education, nothing. I'm a full-time presidential nominee. Thank you. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. Just like, you know, what's really concerning me is Trump is so ignorant of the backlash of all the minorities in this country that has become pathetic. It's almost like he doesn't even realize he's going to have to deal with Americans who are not white. I mean, seriously. It doesn't pay anything. I work for free. I made an incredible donation of service to mankind when I decided to be born. Most people do not decide to be born. I made a decision, and here I am. Welcome to the show. I will try to provide you most excellent service today. I will be your monitor and your automatic robot during the conversations. Feel free to ask me any question as if I were Watson. Sorry. I'm just saying, man. I mean, there are a lot of white people. Ben Affleck. Hey, Dave, I enjoy your cast. My agent told me about it last year. Ben, I got to tell you, man. You are pulling it together. You give me a call if you want to talk. You and your wonderful, wonderful wife, very talented and wonderful wife, are really keeping it together, and you're showing what a true couple can do in adversity. And I really respect the fact that you're staying together as a couple through the past few years. It's amazing. I mean, did you know what happened to Ben Affleck, everybody? He got kicked out of Planet Hollywood in Vegas about a year and a half ago. While he was making $600,000 playing blackjack because he's really good at counting cards. And I just think it's amazing what you've done. I am a voice for the environment. I am. CNN links Trump unannounced dinner to Reagan assassination attempt. What? Are you serious?
Gorgeous.
Let me play this right now. This is too good.
Gate. It seems like a lot of these reporters are upset that they were not able to get, I guess, reservations at the same restaurant to find out if Mr. Trump still likes his steaks.
Scotty, you know that's not true. You know that's not. Scotty, that's not what it was about. What if when Ronald Reagan, when there was the assassination attempt on Ronald Reagan's life, part of the thing that helped was to have footage from the press there. You saw what happened to the president.
But he was the president. That's the key. He is the president.
I mean, there are a couple of. I mean, that is certainly a valid point that he is not the president. It's also a valid point that he has only been the president-elect for a week.
Right.
It is a third valid point that all the press has talked about is this for the last 24 hours. Again, and I would say this is a red flag warning. Stop. We have to stop talking about ourselves. It's not about us.
Yeah.
And unless we learn that, we're going to continue to go down the road, find ourselves in the position that we found ourselves last
Michael, let me ask you this. I think,
yes,
I've talked about a lot of things.
But nevertheless, they have talked an enormous about something.
But isn't this because
Trump made a mistake last night? He made a mistake. His administration made a mistake. They should have brought the press with them.
I don't think that they should have brought the press with them at all.
I was about to say, he doesn't have one yet. He has a press
secretary. I think it's ridiculous. As a matter of fact,
They've
I
made
have listened to this
for the past 8 days.
I have listened
mistakes at any time.
I have listened to this again and again that they should have done this. Why? I don't know why.
I need to get to a break.
What is the advantage?
I need to get to a break too. I think you're seeing the beginning of the end of the love affair, and it hasn't even started between Donald Trump and the press. It's breaking down. I mean, this is not a love affair at all. We are looking at apparently a big fissure growing between Donald and the press now. I can only attribute this to a general mindless concern Trump's had about the reaction people have had when he sticks his foot in his mouth. So, my biggest concern is, why has Trump been Trumpy? Why is he engaged in this behavior? Why is he, constantly manipulating the situation? All right, so I think we're done there. Back to the war effort here. Thank you. I had to close the tree down. Let's not kid ourselves. We're killing off the environment. There won't be any trees like that anytime soon. 100 million trees, 101 million trees in California are being destroyed right now. We've got weird chemtrails flying in the skies above somewhere. Strange behavior. We saw a picture of this earlier. Strange stuff. It's like electric chemtrails. They're so thick, these heavy metals. It's weird. Never seen anything like it. Just laying heavy loads of chemicals in the skies above us for no reason. None of it makes any sense. Even in California, they use chemtrails to spray, do skywriting in the sky. It's just amazing. Skyriders in the sky, afternoon delight. So that was that with that, and grocery shopping during Venezuela's food shortages. Take a look at what's going on in Venezuela. This is grocery shopping during a food shortage. Watch this.
Yo tengo tiempo y paso por un supermercado, yo me meto a ver qué producto consigo, porque a veces uno consigue algún producto exquisito, como por ejemplo un cornflake, o a veces no consigo nada.
A multitude of people flood the supermarket.
La multitud que llega al supermercado es tal, no solamente para entrar, sino también para pagar. Entonces la experiencia de comprar se vuelve una cosa
3-hour ordeal.
horrible para comprar 3 pistoladas.
Quería comprar pan de sándwiches, tampoco había, no había café, no había prácticamente nada, sobre todo había frutas y algunos vegetales. De tal manera que ahora me explico por qué no había cola, no había gente. Compré.
This is his dinner for the next 3 days. This is so sad. We'll play this in just a bit. Thank you. Wow. End war, folks. They are screwed down there, chat room. Yeah. Why are they spraying us? 212 wants to know why they're spraying us. What's a great idea? Why are they spraying us? Thank you, 212. I know. Well, they're spraying us to alter the atmosphere above California. We started the show off talking about that. And the best way I can describe it is they want to weaken the strongest state in our country. And by taking down California, they weaken the strongest state in our country. And we play the loops all the time from Pacific Redwood.
Okay, today is October 31st, 2016, and that is a legitimate argument. I'd like to know more about that. But all the research, the experiments that I've done have proved that there's only one reason why these are sprayed, and that's to affect the relative humidity levels and to prevent precipitation from incoming moisture fields.
And Scissor Fights also stated the obvious earlier. He said that every bit of moisture that has to be brought into California to create rain needs lift, and they've knocked out the lift using phased array radar. Now, using heavy metals in the atmosphere, phased array radar, we are virtually under attack as a nation. Donald Trump won't even talk about this subject at all. He mentioned it anecdotally on a Alex Jones show. And Alex Jones was spinning off on some subject, and Donald Trump was just nodding his head. Bottom line is he's never come out with a plan to stop chemtrails, to end GMOs in our food supply. He's never done anything to eliminate fluoride in our water system. He's just done whatever the handlers tell him to do. Donald Trump doesn't really have his own campaign. He's just borrowing whatever they're telling him to give. His handlers are Kissinger and the New World Order. The World Bank has a lot of pull here. But I'm against GMO food, but the World Bank wants GMO food. They want Monsanto to spread poisons around the society, around every society around the world. Dave, you avoid certain subjects? What are they? I've never avoided a single subject on any one show. Trump is New World Order, yes. Yeah, and Trump doesn't even care. Because what does he care if you're eating GMO food? I mean, he's 70 years old. He doesn't care about what's going on in your life. I mean, this guy's, he eats fast food. He could care less about you eating dangerous, toxic waste. It's no problem, man. It's no problem. Yeah, well, you can do whatever you want, Paul. Paul Ryan here, folks. He wants to block. He doesn't trust Trump at all. Thanks for coming in, Paul. Appreciate it. Beekman, George Soros is funding both sides of both campaigns. He's already funded Donald Trump to the tune of $160 million. And if you don't believe it, Trump got $160 million from George Soros in a business deal. So they've got good working relationship from Soros. That's my source right there, Occupy Democrats. I normally wouldn't give you an Occupy Democrats source, but hey, we got people in our show who are Democrats or leaving the Democratic Party when they found out what Hillary did to Bernie. Bernie kind of got controlled. Whatever techniques they're using. Right, exactly. 212 says California is the 7th largest economy in the world. That's why they're hitting California with these chemtrails. They want to hold the American country at its lowest point. Our economic control over our own country is being undermined. Hey, Donald, welcome to the show. So the powerful people that control Donald's ascension to power and every other presidential candidate in history, who've gone through the system and gotten exposure that way. The people that pull their strings, of the strings of every puppet president we ever had, they don't even want to be known. And I must remind you that the Rothschild family has over $200 trillion in net assets. They have way beyond Trump's imagination. Trump wouldn't even be able to shine his shoes, the Rothschilds. They simply own everything. Trump is flip-flopping so many times he doesn't even have any credibility among his own Trump-tards at this point. They're starting to drop off and become enlightened and intelligent Trump ex-supporters. Thanks for coming in. Well, if he needs ideas, I got one major problem with Trump right now, and that is that he hasn't committed to not supporting rebel troops in Syria. If he doesn't commit to not supporting rebel troops in Syria, he'll be carrying on the same process that put Hillary in power, or Barack Obama in power, or Bill Clinton in power. I mean, all the people that have been in power up to this point have clearly done what they're told by the New World Order. They are servants of a greater monetary elite group of people. I would never be that kind of a person because I'm not buyable. My whole life has been dedicated to living humbly and without materialistic gain, and I can prove it. It's not like I'm going to deny being a tightwad. And that's ironically what we need right now, is a person who's willing to be very conservative with the purse strings, but very effective with what we do spend. Trump can't do that. Trump's already proven to be a spendthrift who just wastes money left and right and borrows more to cover his financial losses. Trump truly was appointed. It's a selection process. So they just went for the guy that was least difficult for them. They would have chosen anyone else, but they don't want somebody freewheeling and open and completely uncontrollable like me. I believe that I have the best interests in heart for the world simply because I focus on the environment, on human rights, also on the idea of environmental production, building enterprises, lowering regulations on small business. If Trump can play out in any one of those areas that I excel at, feel free. Will he be able to fix the housing sector? Good luck. I don't want bad things to happen, mind you, but I don't think Trump has what it takes to fix this problem. He's got too many personal connections to Putin, money, his own investments. Whether he puts it in a blind trust or a public trust, this guy is controlled. And that's what's going to make this a very difficult 4 years for this country. I don't have any mental health records, so there's nothing to release. You know, I haven't really made a goal of creating jobs. My ideas need the power of the government to make them happen, because I believe the government needs to compete in the free market. I don't believe we need to be unfettered or held back. I'm not afraid of you calling me a socialist if I say that I want to create generic medicine for the American people, and I want the government to make a profit and you taxpayers to get a tax break or a tax credit for the sales of generic medicine. I don't want to apologize for getting the government to run efficiently within its own financial norm so it doesn't have to draw on your tax dollars. I'm not apologizing for these ideas. The idea of $400 per U.S. citizen could cost upwards of $300 to $400 billion, but we will be getting rid of the welfare program as we know it. So that's a big plus. That works. Black and green, yeah. So this thing is going to have to go with a different color, I think. All right. Run that later. No, I was born in the United States in Los Angeles, California. Yes, I was born in Los Angeles. No, I don't really have to tax anybody for, most of the money that comes into our country is coming out of expanded capital from borrowed money. Your taxes are not going to operate the country. Your property taxes are, however, but your income taxes are going to pay the World Bank a check. The Treasury gets your income tax. You write it out to the Treasury. They then give it to the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve sends it over to the World Bank, and the World Bank covers the cost of the loan that our government has acquired, the $20 trillion loan, costs about equal to the amount of taxes that you're paying just to manage the interest on it. You see, that's how the bankers want it. The Federal Reserve simply is a fractional reserve banking system that borrows money on principle that is stored value, which is the gold that we acquired from Germany and China and our own gold. And obviously, when we won against Japan, we acquired the Chinese gold. So they're pissed about that too. But it's all sitting in the World Bank, and we're leveraging against it. So there's a tremendous amount of gold in our government's coffers, allegedly. But we're not going to be able to get that gold because nobody in our government can stand up to the Federal Reserve. Once we eliminate the Federal Reserve, and Donald Trump hasn't even talked about this, once we eliminate the Federal Reserve, we'll be able to get access to that gold, and our problems will be over. We'll have $40 trillion in gold to write off our $20 trillion debt, and we're home free. We've got $20 trillion in the bank, and we can continue commanding the world currency and leading the world in every way possible as an environmental leader, making products again, which is what America needs to get back to. I would leave this cursed island, believe me, if I could. Right now, I'm facing all kinds of adversity. I honestly would have moved out of here 15 years ago. No questions asked. But when I saw the jets over my house increasing under George W. Bush, and more so under Barack Obama, to the point where 5 days a week we get flyovers with 120 decibels over my house, ironically, I could sell my house to a Navy guy rather quickly. But I just have other problems to deal with. No, I have issues going on in my life I don't bring up in the show. I can't even get to. Kurt, hi Dave. Please continue your fight for the environment. As you might know, Goldie and me love our nude horseback riding through Santa Mountain, stop the chemtrails and the death. Kurt, you are so cool. You and Goldie are the quintessential Hollywood couple merged with the hippie movement. I really respect your work in movies, and thanks for coming in, man. Yeah, and you and Goldie, tell her to stay away from the lip, have that removed. Yeah, that's not working for her. She can just have the lip job reversed. It'll help. Oh, yeah, that's okay. I love your films. Yeah, I think you're a cool guy, man. Escape from New York, I mean, that's got to be one of the greatest cult movies of all history. What issues do you have, Dave? Get a job. It'll solve some issues. No, I don't have any financial issues. My issues are way more complicated than that. I wish they were financial. God, that would be so simple. I'd write a check and it'd be over. No, I don't really want to in any way discuss my personal life here on the show. But the good thing is Sarah and I are a solid couple, and we do the show every night without fail. And there's problems in my neighborhood that I can't even describe that are just, it's kind of like the local community government. That's really my biggest problem. I could really talk about the liberals that are running this community that are imposing unnecessary restrictions on septic systems, and oh, it's unbelievable. And they're imposing illegal taxes, and this is almost like a communist Marxist slew of people. The vibe here is communist Marxist at the local community level. That's the problem I'm having with my local community. Oh my God, we got Liz Taylor in the room. Didn't she die? Dave, you should run for city council in the interim. No, I can't run for city council. I cannot run for Oak Harbor City Council. They won't allow me. I live in the outlying area. You'll see me wandering the aisles of Walmart looking for canned food. That's my hobby now. Like I said, I would move if I could move, but there's so many different problems associated with selling and moving, I can't even describe it. If you'd like, I'll spend a full show talking about that. How am I going to uproot my security system? Do you realize how much is invested in complete perimeter security? Thermographic analysis systems that are set up specifically for this location. Are we watching out for falling prices at Walmart, really? I check out their clearance section. They actually have pretty good deals over there. You know, I would love to go to Spokane and live out there. There's God's country. Yeah. Yeah. I know. Well, let me tell you, I saved Jeff Bridges' life, Kurt. He'll never know it or acknowledge it because he wouldn't remember the moment unless he was somehow aware that I was standing face to face with Jeff Bridges. And he was about to fall through a plate glass window. He was so drunk. And I saved him. I grabbed him and I carried him to the limo driver and he took him from there. But, yeah. I live in a place where they have legal marijuana. Where are you living? Some of you people in the Midwest, you're not going to have legalized marijuana in a long time. Yeah, you can thank us for even introducing the idea. You farmers in Iowa would love legalized marijuana. You could grow anything. Hemp, cash crops. I mean, you'd really profit from that. Iowa, we need you for 2020. Yeah, but I'm glad I made the move to Washington. It's got a lot of benefits. I know Jeff does a singing event at a winery in Tri-Cities area. I should go to that. You're welcome. I'm writing a book right now, but it's more of a plan for the future for all of us. I can move. I can rapidly move, but Sarah's rooted here in the area. I mean, hello, excuse me. I don't want to uproot anyone's life. And I've got other responsibilities that I don't talk about, which have been very, very draining, my other responsibilities. I do the show every night. That's what's next for me. I do a nightly show, 4 to 5 hours a night on screen, and then 4 to 5 hours off screen where we just bring you videos and I chat in the chat room. No, I've got issues. Extended issues that I can't even discuss. I like living in my community. I actually like the environment I live around. I don't like the jets, but I love the environment. Dave, inflation is... This sounds like a Rodney Dangerfield. I'll tell you, inflation is so bad, even the price of down is going up. I'll tell you. Yeah, but the whole idea of moving is there you are. Wherever you go, there you are. It doesn't matter where you move. You're going to run into, people. And there you are, talking to people, So I could move to Cheyenne, Wyoming, and I could run into a city council problem with some land. Like a woman I met on the phone. She called me up. She said, hi, are you David Sponheim? I said, yes. She said, well, I was out here in Wyoming, and I met a wonderful man, an attorney, who was promoting your presidency in 2012. I said, oh, really? And she said, yeah, I want to know that guy's name because he really gave me some tips because he was collecting signatures for me. I've had people collecting signatures and didn't get enough that didn't even mail them to me. So this guy was out there with his support for America's Third Party, and he was talking to this woman. She called me. I didn't know who this person was, who she had met. I said, well, let me talk about your situation. So I spent an hour and a half talking to a 65-year-old woman out in Cheyenne, Wyoming, that had lost 50 acres of property that she had acquired in a divorce to the local government. They literally seized her property, and they made up charges. They trumped up charges just to get a hold of her property, and they literally took this divorced woman's property and all of her cattle, all of her horses, and she was down to a pickup truck with a camper on the back of it, and a dog and a couple dogs. And she said, yeah, I mean, they've destroyed me. And she told me her whole story, and it was local community politics, basically. One thing after another, and they just kept throwing fines and illegal acts against her. She had to get an attorney to fight them, and then she had to put her land up on the attorney's name, who was in cahoots with the community of Cheyenne. The attorney that was representing her was in cahoots with the prosecutor. I mean, it was just an unbelievable story. An hour and a half, I listened to her. I'm just telling you. Nobody's going to take your stuff. I get that. But this is happening to a lot of women around the country who, at that age in life, when they divorce their husband, they are very vulnerable. They really are. financially. And local communities seem to want to get in on that 50 acres. Well, no, there's some beautiful land out there, but Cheyenne happens to be there's a pesticide factory over there in Dow. I think Dow has a pesticide factory. Let me validate that statement. Dow pesticide factory in Cheyenne. Doesn't seem to be a Dow pesticide factory in Cheyenne. Let's see, Cheyenne, Wyoming. Nope. Huh. I'm mistaken. I guess there is no pesticide factory out there. And that's, of course, it is the Van Diest Supply Company. Dow Chemical is in your city. Are you in Houston? Is that her bear? Dow Chemical just opened up a brand new extruded plastic factory in Houston, employing 2,000 people. I don't know. Maybe it's nothing to worry about. I thought there was a massive pesticide factory out there. My mistake. 60 people are watching in Nigeria. Hello. I did say I'm mistaken. Yeah, I admit that. The reason why I thought there was a Cheyenne pesticide factory is because I was driving through Cheyenne, and there was a massive pesticide leak on the highway of a truck carrying pesticides. So I was assuming it was bringing it from a factory. I may be wrong. I was assuming that they had a pesticide factory in the area because I could breathe it for at least 2 hours on the highway with my respirator on. Dow Chemicals in Midland, Michigan. There you go. You're talking about the Federalist Papers there. I see that. Yeah, Ted Cruz is willing to serve on the Supreme Court, and now he's willing to kiss Trump's ass. Not really gaining respect for Ted Cruz lately. At this point, lost respect when he flipped on Trump and tried to, make up to him. All right. After a bruising and brutal primary campaign, all seems to be forgiven as Senator Ted Cruz has signaled a willingness to serve in the U.S. Supreme Court, filling the seat left vacant by the death of Justice Scalia. He made the comments at a conference of conservatives and libertarian attorneys in D.C. What I will say is the history is long and could take unexpected paths, he said in response to an audience question about his filling the vacancy. I think it is absolutely vital that that seat and every other seat that comes vacant on the court be filled by principled constitutionalists who will be faithful to the law and will check their own policy preferences at the door and simply honor their oath. Well, let's start by investigating Justice Scalia's death as a homicide. Yeah, talking about filling his seat would be the last thing I'd be talking about. Let's find justice for Scalia. Justice for Justice Scalia. I didn't want VIP. It was dumb. It was forced onto me by Green Dog, and he claims that Mark won't return it unless I ask for it. Which is ridiculous because Mark has to offer him a refund within 3 days, and he did. He did ask for that. No problem, Mad Dog. I think Ted Cruz would be fine in that post. I'm just sad that Justice Scalia died, and he didn't really have any autopsy performed. We don't know what happened to him. I think Justice Scalia was killed. He was found with his hands folded over his body, and the quilt, everything over him was completely unruffled. It was almost perfectly placed, and a pillow was over his head. So Green Dog is Mark? Really? You're calling me a fool? Okay, well, do you want to be muted here? Because that's your warning. We're putting up with you long enough to be in here. So, you're jonesing for another abortion? Were you aborted once? Were you a living abortion? No, it wasn't a heart attack. Justice Scalia died from the heart attack gun. There was no autopsy performed. He could have been killed the night before. What happened at Poindexter's ranch, the Cibola Ranch facility, that they invited a longtime enemy of Poindexter, the liberal fundraising conservative hunter guy that he is. I mean, he's a weird kind of character. He's a hunter, and he's involved with the Mason group in that area that do some pretty, they have high value hunts they go on. Anyway, Scalia was out there on a lark, and he ended up going into this facility, the Cibola Ranch facility, got a free room. Poindexter didn't charge him for it, and then was never seen again. Nobody saw him in the restaurant. There's no witnesses that saw him the night before. So he could have been killed the day before and put in a freezer for all we know. And then they just dressed him for the bed sheet. But he had a pillow over his head. He could have been actually killed. He could have tried to wake up in his sleep, and then they killed him with a pillow. But either way, everything was nice and fluffed out and completely unruffled. Now, you know and I know that if you had a heart attack, or any one of you had a heart attack, you'd have your body moving around. It would be some sort of like, you know, something would be going on. The quilt was completely perfect, almost like it was set there. That alone is a red flag, and even qualified police officer, homicide detectives across the country are shocked that Scalia didn't have an autopsy. So whatever's going on with Ted Cruz vying for that position is just... Yes, there should be a conservative to fill Scalia's post. Ted Cruz would be just as good as any other. And I might add that Ted Cruz is one of the most eloquent speakers in our country. Well, we've read the entire description of the event, and all the information on Scalia shows, and you can research this yourself, that he was found with a pillow over his head, and all of his sheets were in perfect condition, no ruffles whatsoever. That alone is a huge red flag that there was a homicide and this guy died unnatural causes. The fact that they rushed his body off with a motorcade of 14 cars to the nearest embalming location at a mortuary, within 1 hour, Justice Scalia was embalmed. That is so unusual, I can't even tell you. That shows me that there was a motorcade. You were in the motorcade? Okay. That shows me there's something really, really suspicious about the Scalia death. So that would be the story that Ted Cruz should, if he really wants to be a justice, he should probably be a justice seeking justice, just to prove that he's seeking justice. Something tells me I don't want to play a hustler video here, but I'll play it later. Okay, now David, at your age, playing college football. Wow, this is cool. They're a 55-year-old playing college football. Excellent. Joe Thomas Sr., age 55, makes the history as the oldest player in Division I football. Here Joe's seen kicking the football prior to having palpitations. Well, at least get a picture of the guy. Hello? We'll never know who Joe Thomas is. What kind of a story does not have a picture? I'm sorry, but that's a bogus link, Mad Dog. I want to look at the guy. I mean, you got to... I look old. I'm 56 years old. I should look at least 56. Thank you. Hey, 384, you're okay. You're right on time, but don't ever call me a name. You'll be muted. Nope, got a good head of hair. Keep it short, just because I'm in a Navy town here. Hey, we reached the end of the show. Could you at least remind me next time that I've reached the end of the show and I have to start, phasing into the next phase of our show? Yeah. Oh, that's very sweet of you. Well, no, I'm getting out in years. That makes me look a lot older, doesn't it, when I do that? Notice how I can morph my face into like an old man rather quickly? That's because I'm getting ready to impersonate Barack Obama yet again.
If we fall for, a bunch of sounds provocative, tweets, funny, sounds provocative, tweets, funny, sounds provocative, tweets, funny, sounds provocative, tweets, funny, sounds provocative,
Pocahontas.
Bing, bing. No, she's got this goofy friend. She's a basket case. Oh, boy. Goofus.
Okay, I guess we're pretty much resting all the Hillary videos now that Hillary's taken a back seat. If Hillary is called to task to be our president coming up December 19th, and 36 of the Republicans decide that this guy, Trump, doesn't play politics well, you will see the Democratic popular vote winner, Hillary Clinton, becoming our president. It could flip on a moment's notice like that. I don't think Trump ever wanted the job. No, it something his Russian backers put him up to. You want me to play it again? Okay, are you serious? Why? Because you just came in the show? Oh, the Shatner link? Okay. It's a pretty funny one. You love that one? He's so in love with himself, it's almost funny. The original Okie Doke? Okay. We could do that. Would you like me to do my own little Okie Doke thing? With the music? That's what you're talking about?
Okie doke. Okie doke. Okie doke. Okie doke. If free. If free. If free. If free. If free. If free. Okie doke. Okie doke. Okie doke. Okie doke. If free. If free. Okie doke. If free. Okie doke. If free. Okie doke.
All right, now would you like me to do another one just to back that up? Because have you heard enough of it? I can play more. All right, I think we're about ready to wrap things up here. We will not be finding out if Barack Obama actually did execute an order that took out Osama bin Laden, because Donald Trump won't be investigating the Osama bin Laden fakery. Donald Trump is basically another puppet for the New World Order. He will not be asking the big questions, was 9/11 an inside job? Donald Trump will not be questioning Hillary Clinton or any of her actions. If he does, it'll just be a cursory glance. It won't be an actual removal, prosecution, or any number of things. So we're basically going to be looking at a do-nothing president for another 4 years while you Trump-tards reel and go, I can't believe he flipped on this issue. He said he was going to go after the refugees. Bye-bye. And we have a story that's been running so far. It looks pretty weird. Julian Assange may have been intervened, and the government may have shut down all of the WikiLeaks process that's been going on for the past few months. I believe you're right, Ticking Time Bags. He's a puppet for the banks. People are concerned that Julian Assange is not alive, or he's been taken in or controlled, or maybe he's making release statements that may or may not be true. A lot of people believe that WikiLeaks has been completely compromised. I believed it for a couple years now, so I just never believed that the government didn't buy up Julian Assange. Either way, the information stream is shutting down, and some people are really, really concerned that they're trying to hide the WikiLeaks that have been revealed, which do reveal an underlying bizarre story of child pedophilia in the Clinton administration, as well as others surrounding Jeffrey Epstein. All of this stuff is really, really weird stuff, popping up all over the internet because a lot of WikiLeaks got out and people are processing information. So, we've got a death threat. Somebody said, Trump will kill you, Dave. Okay, we go ahead and mark that down. Hang on. We're processing this as a death threat. It's bona fide. We're going to go process this. There you go. All right, you've been banned from the show there, buddy. No, I don't need a mental evaluation. I'm pretty much solid in what I believe. I know for a fact we haven't seen a picture of Osama bin Laden's dead body. Here's a picture of the guy, Joe Thomas Sr., that did get a Division I role in football. The story of Joe Thomas Sr. Wow, thank you there. Let's take a look at what he looks like. Yeah, I'm not really seeing his face here. Yeah. I don't see it. No face. Sorry. Yeah, Mad Dog says he was on a carrier, and if Osama bin Laden his body was dropped off a carrier in a white clad sheet into the North Arabian Sea over the Carl Vinson, 4,000 people on board must have had a camera. So, well, I haven't seen it yet, man. I scrolled down all the way to the bottom. All I see is a video. So I don't know, man. All right, so we are muting other people. I don't know who won Michigan, sorry. Well, even Julian Assange, or excuse me, Edward Snowden, another guy who you can't really trust anything he said at this point. He said that he knows for a fact Osama bin Laden was living in the Bahamas. So, the whole thing is just a nightmare. Pizzagate, Comet Ping Pong, Instagram exposed, the global pedophile network. People are looking into the WikiLeaks. They're getting more and more information about this. If these people are up to some real sick stuff, which many people think they're doing, then we're looking at a serious reveal, along with a crushing control by the government to shut down Wiki. Now, so far, Julian Assange hasn't tweeted or posted anything. The tweets are supposedly the WikiLeaks tweet site has been compromised. So a lot of stuff is really looking more and more like somebody's trying to squash information as rapidly as it's coming out. Very suspicious activities. So I think they use WikiLeaks to a great extent to get rid of the Hillary campaign and install Donald as their de facto puppet. But it's not likely we're going to get any response right now. 11:19. Okay. We'll see what happens with WikiLeaks. See how it transpires. So we won't be dealing with much more Obama in the future. He's going to move into his palatial retreat out near Washington. It's an 8,000 square foot house that they bought. He and his lover, transgender lover Michael. And he's hoping they're not going to prosecute. And according to Trump, he's not going to prosecute Obama on any fraud charges. He believes that Obama was born in the U.S. So you can see how peaceful this transition is to a new crooked crony government. Yeah. Isn't that great? Peaceful transition. That's why it's so peaceful. There's something weird about this. I'm only taking you down because you got such a bad mouth in the show, man. Mad Dogs, you got a click from Glenn Beck about a moneyless society, cashless society enslaves you to the system. Wow, okay, cool. A Glenn Beck radio show. Wow. Please play Can't Stop because we won't stop. Okay, one more time. You guys have been a great audience tonight. Thank you for coming in. You know, we had so many snorting activities going on with Obama during his candidacy, and when we saw that Trump also had a snorting problem, we don't know what he's snorting or why he's snorting, but the snorting behavior of Trump has been well documented, and I think that he's going to have a problem living this one down. You can lie, cheat, and steal and take people's ideas, but you can't cover the incessant snorting coming out of your mouth during the debates.
All right, Mr. Trump, you have 2 minutes. How do you heal the divide?
Stay.
Can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on.
How specifically are you going to tell American manufacturers that you have to come back?
Can't stop, can't stop. We can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop,
So let's be clear.
In this coming election year, please vote for David Sponheim. America's Third Party.
Sponheim for president.
can't stop, can't stop, can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop, can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop.
First we hit 'em low, then we hit 'em high. Underrated, but we made it to the finish line. Rhymes designed to combine and intertwine. Spring to the summer, fall, even winter time. Beats banging harder, then head on collisions. We make incisions with precision and quick decisions. Causing double visions if you ain't up to speed. You need to speed it up, holler, piano read.
Can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, can't stop and we won't stop.
In this coming election year, please vote for David Sponheim. America's Third Party.
Can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop,
Great. That was fantastic. So is this the end of our show? I think we're about wrapped up here. We're going to go into the next video stage of our show, Pizzagate. We'll start with that, a story of unraveling secret network of child traffickers and pedophiles. We're going to restart our show, though, before we actually do that. So we're dropping out of our YouTube broadcast. Thank you for watching. And we're going to turn our server down because we've got this problem. And I think it could be our router. So we might have to get a new router.
Christmas present.
Maybe even sooner. We might want to look around. But our router is knocking out our Wi-Fi signal, but it keeps our Ethernet strong. So there's something about that. It's knocking out our internet connection. But the Ethernet's coming along. It could be some sort of a attack for all we know, but it happens quite often now. We have to stop our show for just a bit. It'll be about a minute or 2 minutes down, and we're going to reset the servers right about now. Thanks for